Hey.
Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm gonna be your host. I'm better looking than Black Men Unfiltered, so he decided to take a break, and we decided to have something more appealing to the pretty ladies out there. Oh yeah,
Hey.
and notice the nice shiny shoulders and the nice glow in the dark teeth. No, good evening, everyone. I'm Scam Likely, number one troll 2022, running for back to back in 2023. Today's topic: Are we promoting marriage or are we pushing gloom and doom? Like, what are we talking about?
Mm.
And my co-host, you can introduce yourself, Candid Ann.
Hey everyone, my name is Candid Ann. I've been on YouTube for a little while, but I'm here to co-host this episode with Dusto to be the positive side of the Dusto. So that's what we're here to do tonight. We're going to give you some yin and yang, okay, up in here. So thanks for having me, Dusto. Thanks for having me, BMU.
No problem. We'll start with just me and you, and in a couple minutes we're gonna pull everybody else up.
All
Y'all chill on the
right.
back for a minute.
What up?
Um, Here's what it is. They're talking about we gotta build the Black community. We used to be married at 80%, and then
What's that
okay,
voice, Dusto?
we should be 80% in Black families, and it's, get out of here. It's all about the fathers. Then the woman saying it's the feminism, and then it's okay. Something has to be right. Something got to be wrong. I mean, that's just what it is. But some people are looking for answers. Okay, what's wrong? What's right? What I got to do? How we gonna put the families together? What are we gonna do? So, what do you? And Candy Ann, you are married. I'm single, no children. Look, I'd like to be married. Candy Ann is married.
Mhm.
What do you see out there in the conversations? What are you hearing?
So listen, let me tell you this, right? Depending on what you at, I think I blinked out. Are you guys still seeing me? Am I still here? Something happened. Is
Hey,
everything
oh,
good?
depending on what then we
Oh,
both
okay.
do a
Sorry
StreamYard.
about that. I don't know what happened, but yeah, depending on what you click on, that the algorithm is going to feed you more of that, right? And so, if you're going to click on, red pill stuff, black pill stuff, blue pill, green pill, whatever, it's going to feed you more of those kinds of videos because they want you to continue watching. They want to feed your addiction, feed your interest, feed whatever it is that you want to watch. And so I encourage people, like, if you stay in this space, you think that's the only conversation that's happening, but there's a lot of people out there, a lot of Black people out there having wonderful YouTube channels. I'm going to name quite a few of them. I have a book that I wanted to talk to you guys about. I guess I have to do it another time. I'll talk to you a little bit about it, but it's going to feed you whatever you want. So, there's YouTubers out there. I've mentioned a few of them that are out here gardening. If you know Beauty in the Garden, it's a Black YouTuber, micro farmer, Black man, Black family. He's out here talking about the garden. Miss Vaughn TV, she is an influencer. Husband's a police officer. They're out in Chicago. They have a child. I've been following her for years. She talks about her kid and, make Black family. Talking about her life. They just did a girls trip, right? Let me tell you about the girls trip because everyone's about the girls trip. This wasn't her going out being crazy. This was her sister,
Oh,
a couple of
okay,
other
fair.
friends, like 9 girls. They rented a $2 million house for the weekend to celebrate her 40th birthday. She wasn't at the club. Everything was at the house. They rented a chef they did everything at the house. They had like journals so they can journal. They had masseuse come in with stones and all kinds of different things right at the house. Something, and it was beautiful to watch. I encourage people, go watch Miss Vaughn TV. That's a Black family. Her daughter has autism. She speaks about that. There's so many people that I watch on here. There is 12 Titans. They are a husband and wife family again. They raise cane corsos, I think it's called, huge dogs. They have 90 acres of land. Okay, 90, like, so this YouTube thing is going to feed you whatever you want. So if you think it's doom and gloom and you want to be fed doom and gloom, it's going to give it to you, right? But if you want to go out there and look at my husband is into cruising and flying around or whatever. So there's Black YouTubers doing restaurant reviews that are doing cruises. They're reviewing cruises. There's so many different things out there. So if you want to believe that there's doom and gloom, it's going to feed that to you. It's going to feed that to you. But I'm not going to say, because my life isn't doom and gloom. So it isn't. So recently, my cousin on Facebook. Let me tell you, like, this just part of our regular day. My cousin on Facebook, she posted her husband. You know what he's doing? He's into chess. And so at the local library, he is teaching kids how to play chess. Not only does it help them learn the game, but it also teaches them to focus, to think with strategy. This is a Black man here in Connecticut at the library, just teaching the local kids how to play chess. Like, so if whatever you want to believe, YouTube algorithm is going to feed it to you.
So you're telling me he didn't just send you, the Black man, he didn't send you a text that, whoa, 70% of marriages are divorces filed by women. Whoa, I'm telling you, divorce take half. Oh, the woman got to go through a whole phase. That's not what you're telling me he didn't text you any of that and send you that bi-weekly?
No, I don't receive those. I don't know what you're wrapped up into, but I haven't received that. No, dear.
That wasn't, okay.
No. But that's not part of my life. That's not part of, like, if that's what you want to believe, I'm sure that something's going to exist no matter what you believe. I'm sure there's a case out there that's going to feed it to you, that you can, have your confirmation bias and say, see, I told you there's a case out there in which all these different horrible things occur. But like I told you, like, this is not my life. So I can't sit up here. Like, I spent a year, I think it's been like a year now, listening to these spaces. And, I said to you earlier, what's the definition of insanity? Right?
Same thing.
Over and over, expecting a different result. I can't be on here. I'm not an insane person. I can't be on here fighting back and forth I had good experiences with men, good experiences with Black men. I got a great husband, a great father, my brother I'm close to. Like, how I'm going to come on here and fight with Black men? I don't fight with Black men in my real life. So, like, if that's what you guys want to, feed into, you certainly can. But, like, I'm just here to show that something else out there exists. Like, y'all got to know something else out there exists. It's not all doom and gloom.
Yeah, actually, something does exist. Oh, women are incentivized to leave the men. It's incentivized, but no. Hey, Black man, we get that super chat, and then I'm gonna bring everybody up right afterwards. Shout out to Sophisticated Jerk.
Sophisticated Jerk. Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Doom and gloom. No, we're not doing doom and gloom now. Can we get a $10 super chat for the positivity? Somebody, please hook it up.
I got a red room. It's the red hour when the sun sets in my bedroom. Oh, it feels like I'm inside a flower. It feels like I'm inside my eyelid. It feels like I'm inside a flower.
Hey, that's nice.
Yeah, pull up a couple of people.
Welcome.
People.
Everybody okay? What's going on with that face dust though?
No, it's almost my ears crackling. But welcome, Black Men Unfiltered.
What's going on, my brother?
I believe it's your first time over here, isn't it, Maniac Genius?
Yes, it is. Thank you for having me.
Want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm the Manic Genius. I'm just a loser on YouTube, so I come out every once in a while when work permits it. So I actually got to jump off early tonight, so I'm gonna try to rock as long as I can.
Got you. Actually, we'll let you start. Let me introduce Chef Shapino. Want to introduce yourself? Welcome to the panel.
Yo, yo, yo. What's going on? What's going on? Peace, love, and light. Great to be back at Black Man Unfiltered's network. You know, we definitely did some work together, pre-monetization, between him and our boy Atris Statusbird when my co-host Victor Freeze was attending his grandma's funeral, and my other co-host Andrea Lynch was in the hospital.
Yeah.
Both brothers jumped in and we kept the party going.
Yeah.
So, there's definitely lots of love that's built within this. So I appreciate being here. And you catch me on Chef Shapino on YouTube. It's a eclectic hodgepodge of thought, jokes, laughs, food, and just me being me while I'm trying to find my correct niche within this YouTube ecosystem.
Hey, if you need me, if you need trolls, you know where to find me.
All day.
Hey, Love C, welcome to the platform.
Peace.
Look at Love C on camera. That's what I'm talking.
Hey everybody, how are you?
What's up, Love C? How you doing?
Hey, good evening.
Yeah, we're just getting started. Love C was found in a back of an abandoned building 3 years ago. I gave her my card, and no. Go ahead, introduce yourself, Love C.
Hi, I'm Love C. Thanks for having me on the panel tonight. Looking forward to the conversation. Glad to be here.
All right, thank you all for coming. I'm gonna start with Maniac Genius. Just anything, because let's be real. You've been over here into the great spaces, the money spaces, the good, and you've also been into the dust.
Yeah.
You see it all. What overall, what are you hearing? And then outside of YouTube, just in real life.
Yeah.
What do you see being taught, being pitched? What do you see? What's going on out here?
It's actually very sad. Just it's it's my mic.
Manic. Thanks, Trey.
No, calling him manic. Yeah, it's sad because I feel like there's a lot of people that have a big platform and a big microphone and a megaphone, damn near, and I feel like they're not utilizing it the right way and sharing their personal stories and actually trying to promote, people to do better. I think everybody is just looking at it from the perspective of their own and trying to justify whatever situation that they're in. So, if you were to ask me, is it positive or doom and gloom? I feel like it's mostly doom and gloom, not necessarily because we want doom or gloom, but because we have so much ego and pride involved. And it just is seemingly too difficult for a lot of people to put to their pride to the side. And it kind of is a reflection in real life because it's easy to quantify, what somebody's salary is, what somebody does, and you can kind of, if that is a metric that you feel comfortable with, like ranking people, you can easily rank people and say, hey, this person, makes $10 million. We should probably listen to him, rather somebody who's, scraping ends meet. Not to say that somebody who's impoverished doesn't have, nuggets or gems, but I think that a lot of times in this platform, people come on YouTube to reinvent themselves and sometimes to escape the reality that their current situation is in. So it's funny jumping on these YouTube streets and then taking a break and then going into real life. And I try to operate from a stance of some level of consistency. I do embrace growth. So whenever I have debates or challenge people's ideas, it's never really from a perspective of trying to push my own agenda on them. It's more or less trying to learn from what they have to say and from a perspective. And I troll too. I definitely jump into the dust
Cool.
when I need to, but
That's what I'm talking
it's
about.
ultimately to challenge somebody and see what they're really made of, and like, can you really stand on that point, on that bullshit ass point that you're making right now? So I don't know if we can curse, but yeah, my bad.
No, you're good. Wow. You sound like me almost in that point. Well, the serious version of me, you sound like me. Chef, you've been around for a while. What you see out here in these streets? YouTube streets, real streets, the club, the gas station.
So yeah, I'm gonna look to the yin and yang in terms of the positive flow within the ecosystem, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent. Even with all of those pieces, they all become necessary. You know, psychologically, I like to reverse engineer certain things because I think emotionally, right? So in order for that to use that as a filter or filtration of thought and feeling, I try to reverse engineer situations in my mind to see if I should be attaching so much emotion to a certain thing. And in doing so, here's what I noticed when I look at the YouTube streets. There's different content for different people. No machine or no system is greater than the sum of its parts, right? So when I say this, we look at what takes place within our ecosystem, our community. We understand a man is important. We understand a woman is important. We understand, mutual cooperation between the man and the woman are important. We also understand that there needs to be unified fronts when it comes to that corporation that's formed, where the board always agrees, right? We do also agree there should be a chairman of the board within that dynamic. We agree in so many different ways. But when the system of the machine breaks down, it seems as though none of the pieces want to maintain that individual responsibility for their prospective failures in that machine. Nobody wants to be the squeaky wheel. Nobody wants to be the broken widget. Nobody wants to be the worn out fan belt, right? What I think is when we walk into these places, because you have to understand your room and know your room. When we walk into those specific rooms, we have to recognize that those rooms may not be for us and they may be for the specific therapy of those individuals that are impacted a certain way within this community. There's some fellas that need a little bit of red pill talk. There's some of the red pill fellas that need to be pulled closer to the center. There's some sisters that do need to understand that our brothers, feel a certain way and they may not have heard it before. So I do recognize a specific place of resonance for each of those different discussions, but they're going to resonate differently based on who's listening. And then, of course, the hit dog or holler theory, too. But that's, I digress.
I like that.
But I'm single, so I'm not qualified to ask Love C any questions. So I can't be honest. Married woman to married woman. No clowning. But Love C, what's going on out here? What's going on out there in these streets?
I don't know. It seems like there's a whole lot going on. I think I agree with what Candid Ann was saying. I think it kind of depends on what you're looking for. Depending on what you look for or what you're inclined to listen to, that'll kind of dictate what you see. So one thing I like about YouTube is it's giving me a perspective about things that I may not necessarily see in my personal life. So sometimes your circle of friends are generally going to be people that are similar to you, and you might you have a similar story. So when you come on here and you hear what people are dealing with, I think it's good to hear a perspective and see something outside of your circle. But I think specifically if you're talking about promoting marriage, to promote something is to paint it in a light where other people want to be a part of that. And I think in order to do that, you either have to be in a healthy marriage yourself, have seen a healthy marriage, or be able to talk about the areas where you have learned or grown or even failed at times. And I think that's something that's hard for people to talk about is their failures. What I see a lot of in this space is when there is a failure, the person likes to talk about what the other person did to make things fail, as opposed to the role that you played and the growth that, you know, you have to have. I think Chef said that, you know, nobody wants to be the squeaky wheel, which is true. But the reality is your relationships are only as healthy as the two individuals that are in them. Um, and that's a hard pill to swallow when you're looking down the years of a failed relationship. You have to look at the role that you played in it. May not be to blame, but you existed in that relationship in some way. And that's not something that I think we talk about often. We usually talk about the blame to the other person, as opposed to looking at yourself and saying, how did I end up in this situation? Um, and then even being able to say, you know, this is what happened, and these are things that you can look out for moving forward. And not paint it in a fear mongering way, but paint it in a way where you're actually educating people on what to look for. I think that's the duty of as you mature and grow. It's your duty to educate those that are coming behind you, in the hopes that they won't ever be able to say they didn't know. Now, if they choose to take another path, then that's their choice. But you can always share what it is that you know, so that your lessons don't go in vain.
Cool. Black Man Unfiltered. What's going on out here in these streets?
Well, as you know, I'm not here to sail the boat. I'm here to rock it. So what's going on in the streets right now is everybody's misunderstood. Everybody has lost their way. Everybody has no one's playing their part. Everybody's out of line. And the reason for that is because we're so easily influenced by things and people and what they say. We're so easily influenced by our women are so influenced by female rappers who say, I don't cook, I don't clean, but I still got a ring. And then you go on that rapper's Instagram and she's cleaning the kitchen and mopping the floor. Where the men are influenced by men who reinvent themselves and they attach themselves to that. What needs to happen is leaders need to be leaders and followers need to be followers. We need to appreciate what we were created to do. Right? Pressure was made for shoulders, not hips. And I think that we've lost our way as a people. Married couples have lost their way. The wife doesn't want to be under the protection or the covering of the husband. She wants to dress, but she's not prepared to deal with the mess. And men are just, I mean, we did a show on this, 4 weeks ago? Men are just taking themselves out. They don't even care no more. The numbers are astronomical. They're just taking themselves out. I don't want to do it no more. I don't want to put up with it no more. My stress level's at the top. And I wish I had the numbers here tonight, but Dusto's hosting tonight. And thank you, Dusto, because Dusto, normally we do these shows on Tuesday, and Dusto reached out to me and said, hey, let's do a show. Let me host the show on Tuesday. And I said, okay, yeah, you can have the platform as yours. So shout out to Dusto for having this idea. But that's where we are. I wish I could show those stats of men who, with white women, black women, Hispanic men, and Asian men and women, I think combined, black men are deleting themselves at a higher rate than all of those people combined. And so we have an issue. And I think the issue can be regular. I'm trying to stay safe here right now. The issue can be regulated, but people have to play their part. You have to play your part. When they hire Denzel to do a movie and they hire Mark Wahlberg to do a movie, Denzel's going to play his part. Mark's going to play his. But if they try to do each other's, it's confusion. The movie will never get done. I think that we're out of line. People are just out of line, man. That's it. That's all I have for now.
Yeah. We asked these people to play their part. They said no. Just to let you know.
Yep.
They said no.
I agree.
No, we ain't gonna do that.
Who are these people? What are you guys talking about? Like, who's these people that's supposed to play their part? And and to follow up, like, if you feel like there's so much doom and gloom in that, like, I don't know what the statistics are on Black men committing self-deletion, because working in healthcare, there's a lot that goes into why people do this and why they feel this way. So that's neither here nor there. But how are you able to have a successful marriage if you feel like things are so screwed up? Like, I don't understand, like, how are you able to have a successful family and have a successful relationship if you feel like it's all doom and gloom out here? Because I have a pretty decent relationship, so I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm not saying that bad things don't happen. I'm not saying there's not messed up marriages out here. I'm not like saying it's all fairy tales. I'm realistic, but like, it just seems like over and over and over and over and over and over. Like, when do we speak about positive marriages and all the wonderful things that is marriage? Like,
I could answer that.
Yeah.
We can begin to talk about it when we see it change. See, the reason that my grandmother always said, the reason that you keep hearing about the same thing, because nobody is doing nothing. And so when it comes to my marriage, 12 years in, when it comes to my marriage, it's not about my marriage. It's about my son's marriage. It's about my daughter's marriage, right? And now, as a parent, and if you're a parent on this platform tonight, as a parent, you see what kind of women these young ladies are becoming. My daughter, just now on the way home, I went to my daughter's softball game tonight. On the way home, my daughter said, "Daddy, they took this girl off of TikTok. She was 16 years old." I said, "Why did they take her off TikTok?" She said, "Daddy, she had a net shirt on with no bra on, just butt naked, just on the camera. And they just took her off." Same age as my daughter on TikTok, right? I see the guys completely different. The guys are more now. I'm just going to say it. The guys are more feminine. These boys are walking around here. They're like, there's no protection mode. Like, if something happens, the dude's running with the girls. There's no boys standing up for anything anymore. So when I'm not talking about we doom and gloom is reality. And what's happening right now in the world today, if we just take a peek at what's going on with children, it's really bad. Guys, I'm gonna say this and I'll land the plane. I work with children, as you guys know. I coach and football, sometimes basketball, if it need be. And the people that are raising these babies, I did a show on it, guys. I recorded these people in their element. I recorded mothers telling their sons, "You ain't shit. Get your punk ass off the field. Get your punk ass up." What kind of boy will he become? What kind of man? Is that a good husband? Will he become a good husband? No. Right? I've seen mothers emasculate their boys in front of everybody, calling them bitches, stupid asses, dumb asses. And I'm just looking at these women like, are you really? And the fathers, some of the fathers, not all are there. Some of the fathers, like, grabbing their wives' arms like, "Baby, whoa, wait, chill out, wait. It's just a game. Wait, hold on. No, it ain't. He can play that fucking PlayStation. The bitch nigga can catch a ball." That's what I'm seeing. So when I talk about the doom and gloom, I'm talking about what I see.
So all the people on the fields, every single parent, not one of them got no act right. Not one of them. Not one.
Right, hold on. But are we focusing on the one? Or are we focusing on the majority? The majority of anything destroys like right now, Canadian, you're a great wife. Hold on. You're a great wife, Canadian. We always say that. You're a great wife, right? There are a lot of great wives on YouTube. But right now, Canadian, if you did a show tonight about I'm a great wife and this is how you do it, you'll have 12 people watching. But if you go to that girl down the street over here that's talking ratchet, talking about niggas ain't shit, it's 400 people watching.
That's not 100% true. I understand for the live space, but like I said, if you look at Miss Vaughn TV, she gets ridiculous subscribers. She is talking about her husband. They in Chicago. Her husband's a police officer. She's getting sponsorships from major corporations. There are people out here that have wonderful marriages that have subscribers. That if you want to, like, I'm not even fighting against the fact that what you see exists. I'm just saying, why do we spend so much time highlighting that and not paying attention to the things that are wonderful in our community and highlighting those things and putting it to the forefront to inspire others that, hey, look, wonderful things out here happen. Look, there's wonderful things. Let's inspire each other. Like, if all we're going to do is post the ratchet bullshit, then people are going to be, oh, look at the ratchet bullshit. That's what we're going to continue to see. But if we don't spend time to talk about the wonderful things, though, I talked about my cousin doing chess at the library. There's so much I can go on and on and on. I talked about Micro Farmer. I talked about Miss Vaughn. I talked about the 12 Titans. That's a family on 90 acres of land. They're raising dogs and they're breeding dogs. Wonderful. If you see the way they do this, they make their own food. They have their own vet. And I mean, just amazing. These are Black people that's on YouTube. Why can't we focus on like some positive stuff? I'm not saying that like it doesn't exist, Black man. I'm not saying that what you're seeing doesn't exist, but I feel like we spend too much time focusing on the negativity when some of us are doing amazing things out here and it's not highlighted. So it becomes like, what is the point of, we get hooked, like addicted to the nastiness.
Okay, now, let me respond. So the reason that I'm so passionate about it is because I'm in it. And so let me tell you why. When I can get on here and talk about myself, right? I spent countless of countless hundreds and thousands of dollars on children that are not mine, buying uniforms, jackets, socks, shoes, right? You need a place to sleep. Mama got evicted. You need it. I go get my wife right now. Baby, pull up the tax, pull up everything that we look. This woman over here got evicted. Oh, we now got to pay for our hotel room for 3 nights until she can get to our mama. Oh, we got to do this here. I can get on here and brag about me, but that's not who I am. I'm not going to get on here and brag about me. However, I will sit here and say the reason that these negative things happen, the reason that I talk about these things, because I'm up at 1 o'clock in the morning with a 13-year-old kid that then walked to my house sleeping on my floor because he doesn't know where his mom is. I'm over here. I wish I had my wife sitting with me right now. I have kids that have stayed in my house for a week. I had to buy them uniform clothes for school. I had to go in there and bath, go get them deodorant, go get them toothbrushes. I'm in it because these kids, they trust me. I'm like a father to these boys. And they trust me. They call me. They text me. Can you come get me, please? My mama boyfriend over here again. He just slapped my mama. Can you come get me? Coach, can you please come get me? My mama in there crying. Can you come get both of us? Then I got to go over to the house in danger because I don't know if I walk in this house what this man gonna do to me. He can shoot me coming through the front door. But out of love for them boys, I'm in there. When I talk about these things, people say, "Oh, we always talk about the negative," but I'm living it because I've attached myself to these boys to love them enough to pull them out of these situations and to love on them. And so when I'm telling men, get it together, men need to be leaders and take back their power. Women need to start reserving themselves. This is what I mean, because every woman ain't meant to be a mother and a wife, and every man ain't meant to be a father and a husband. That's why I talk about what I talk about, because I'm in it.
Yeah, let me get JT in here. He just arrived on the panel.
Damn, JT, you on fire?
Hey,
Wait
JT.
a minute.
He came from hell, just like
He from hell. Wait, that's the devil.
Coming hot.
What's going on, my brother?
Everybody? What's happening, man? What's going on? How everybody doing tonight? I'm listening to you guys, and Candy, I get what you're saying as far as like the negative versus the positive, but you got to ask yourself.
I was waiting for the butt.
Yeah, well, you have to ask yourself, who are we talking to? Are we talking to 30-year-olds? Are we talking to 45-year-olds? Aren't we supposed to be making this a generational thing? Because if we talking to each other, this is why it's not going anywhere. We're trying to get the ones that's supposed to be in the dating game to want to marry each other. And right now, that group that we supposed to be talking to, they ain't trying to hear it.
Why are you trying to get people to marry each other, JT? Why are we not trying to focus on people just because not everyone is meant to be married, and that's okay. Some people want to be married, some people don't want to be married. Like, why are we trying to funnel Black people into one damn thing? Like, why not just encourage people to be the best person they can be by inspiring them with, whatever positive stuff that you got going on, whether you're into, like I said, chess, whether you're into the football, whether you're into whatever it is. Why not just inspire people to be the best person? And life's journey is going to take up life's journey. But we over here force feeding people to do things the way that I think it should be done because that's the way it's supposed to be done. Like, that's not really appealing. And you've been doing it for a year, so has it been effective?
Now, this is the thing. We have it. We've been promoting hate. We've
For
been
a
promoting
year.
disdain. We've been promoting divorce. One of the reasons why we would do that is because we work better together. A community starts with a woman and a man. The community starts in the house first. Woman, man, children. That's how a community starts. And right now we have a bunch of broken communities. We have women and children. The men are there, but they're just not in the house. So we have to promote something that hasn't worked in a long time, but
And how do
it
you
has
start
been
change?
proven to work.
How do you, if you want to change something, where does the change start?
It starts in the family.
It
So you
starts
got to have
here.
family.
JT. Before you can start with the family, the change that you have to make when you want to go to the gym, the change you have to make that decision up here first.
But we're talking about
internally.
But what we're talking about also is we're talking about building a community.
Right.
Of course, it
I
starts
100%
here.
understand
So,
that.
so when we have these things, when it comes down to men being leaders, women being submissive, these are things we have to have. Men have fallen so far away from their role as a man. There's a role as a man and there's a role as a woman. And the problem that we have is people saying that, no, one person, everybody can't be this way. No, they do. We have to, in order for us to have a norm, we have to have rules. We have to have boundaries and we have to have consequences that comes with it. Right now, what we're not having is any of that anymore. We just have a bunch of people complaining. When we talk about dating, we have to teach young men how to pick women. We have to teach young women how to be available for those men to pick you. And right now, what we're having is a bunch of people having talking points, but nobody actually have the how to. So what we have to go to what you just said, the mind, being creative. It's never going to go back the way that it used to, but we have to do it all over again. How do we do it? Through family, period. You can't get around family. Look what we got right now. You see. Can't get around it.
Shout out to Maniac. Actually, I was coming to you next anyway, Maniac. Excuse me. Manic Genius.
Oh, Manic. I got my glasses.
Manic. I'm saying
Sorry about
Maniac. Manic, what you got? What's going on?
Nah, I agree with can you hear me just fine?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I agree with Candid Ann's point. We should really be highlighting people with positive outcomes and results. But like I said in the super chat, it's like too many people, too many idiots, have seen YouTube as a way to redefine who they are, and they're taking full advantage of that, and putting them on a pedestal or trying to position themselves in a position of power, and they think if they can shame people, whether it's men or women, because it goes both ways depending on who you talk to and what room you jump into. Shout out to the chef. I like that. Depending on which room you jump into, you're going to hear men bashing men. You're going to hear women bashing women. You're going to hear women bashing men. You're going to hear men bashing. You're going to hear it all. So it's just like, what I see it as, honestly, I see it as entertainment. And it's sad. I used to see it as entertainment, but, it turned into, I don't even have the word for it, but, I don't have a taste for it anymore just because it's just too negative. If I want to find out how to become, a low life, I can go on plenty podcasts and just listen to, people who are, just talking about just pure ignorance. But, there's other podcasts where, people are trying to solve problems. And I think it's disingenuous when we try to collectively get everybody together and just think that just because what somebody says is, fact, because it's a talking point or it's because it's been, and I really love the people who stand on talking points, because that's when I come with, Dusto calls it dust, so I'll use dust. That's when I get a chance to come with dust.
What do you mean stand on talk? You're saying you support the people who stand on talking points?
No, I don't support. I love those. I love those
beat
people
up the
because,
talking points.
yeah, I love the people who beat up the talking points, because it
Oh,
allows
okay.
me an opportunity to, kick up some dust and like, okay, let's follow this. Let's follow the ideology of this talking point. Like, are you living this? And if so, why aren't you getting the results that you're preaching to everybody else? And I've realized that what I've seen is a lot of men struggle with women, and it's a real thing. Whether it's just the type of women that they want that they can't attain, or it's just just the dynamics of man and woman. They just can't figure it out. And so they jump into this red pill space seeking answers, and what they get is people who have bad results, that are just angry and have either given up or trying to spin a completely different narrative of what the reality of the situation is. And honestly, it's really quite simple. If you want a woman and she does not want you, then she does not want you. And you need to then maybe lower your standards and find somebody who can match with you. So, and it goes the same way for women. It's just like, I feel like people sit up here and complain and do this and that, and it's just too much. It's just like, you just go out, talk to people. If they rock with you, they rock with you. If they don't rock with you, you just keep it moving. You don't get upset and blame and try to shame them to like come down to your level. But I mean, I don't have the most popular opinion. I get on every podcast, everybody, challenges my opinions. I expect them to, because I mean, I'm not the common person. I don't align with the average. I've never tried or aligned with the average. So
Hey, can I respond to you, Manic, real quick?
absolutely, I love it.
So let me tell you how I got drugged about 2 months ago. I had a conversation with my son on camera. My son's 15.
Mhm.
And I told my son, as a man, as a young man and growing into a young man, you have to be a leader. And if you consider yourself a leader or any type of authoritative figure or a king or anything that you label yourself, you have to be careful with what you give out.
Yeah.
And one of those things that me and my son talked about on camera was him giving his sperm away.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my son that, son, I know it's going to be times where your body is going to tell you want that thing and you want to get it and you got to have it. I said, but son, you have to look at the repercussions, the consequences of your actions. If you have sex with this woman, condom breaks, she gets pregnant, or you get an STD, or right, she could say anything and get you arrested, right? It could be anything, right? And so what I told my son is we have to have a standard and we have to set one. And we're going to start with you. So what I'm saying is not reaching out to the guys now, because I've been preaching this for the last 2 months, not reaching out to the guys now, because some of the guys are too far gone.
Yeah.
But we got to reach down or back to our sons and our nephews, right?
Oh, yeah, facts.
And I told my son, I said, and this is when the ladies drugged me. Woo! I had to deal with it, right? They said, I told my son on camera, I said, son, you have to have a standard, and this is it. You ready? My son said, yeah, Dad, I'm ready. I said, you will not date or marry a single mother.
Okay.
I said, you will not date a woman who has a bad mouth. Mm-hmm. If she disrespects the waitress and cusses you out in front of your mama and the Target cashier, you don't need to be with her. Yeah. Son, you have to be accountable. No matter how horny you get, you don't like a certain woman, you're not attracted to a certain woman, don't be tiptoeing over to her house at midnight, having sex with her, getting her pregnant, and making her a statistic in YouTube.
Yeah.
Right? If she
all great advice so far, by the way.
Yeah. If she grew up in a single parent home, you don't date her, because, and if you do date her, she has to show some type of evidence that she's had some type of therapy, because people deal with the fact that there's a void there from their daddy not being there or mama not being there. And so you don't want to have to deal with all those layers as a young man.
So I'll give you some pushback on that one, but I'll let you finish all your points.
But yeah. So when I told him that, I got a lot of pushback from the ladies. Why he can't date a single woman, a single mother? The reason that he can't is because if he's going to set a standard, I say be with a woman who has no children and build and have the nuclear family with her. However, the woman that's with a child, we don't forget about her. No. What you do is you go over and encourage that woman to be the best, you and your wife and you and the community, whoever's in the community is on a positive mindset. You go over and encourage that woman. Hey, listen, you got to raise this child now. We're going to give you some pointers on how to raise this child. We're going to be here for this child and we're going to help you raise this child. Now, what we don't want you to do is be out here looking for another man because you made a mistake once. We don't want you to make it twice.
Did you tell that to security boss?
Right?
Did you tell
Say
that to
what?
security boss who was a single mom who found a wonderful husband afterwards who was also, did you tell that to security boss?
Yeah, we had a whole show about it, honey.
You know, so when you say stuff like that, like, that's what I'm saying, where you, this is where it gets sticky because there are nuances.
Yeah.
And I'm not encouraging you to tell people like, you know, go date single moms, save single moms or whatever. I'm just saying that like we're painting all single moms with one broad picture where you have wonderful women like security boss who was a single mom and is a wonderful wife right now. So that's what I'm saying, where there's nuances where that's where I push back at. Not, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's what I said. I told my son, if you're going to date a single mom, right? No. Don't date a single mom, but listen to the second part of that. I say, but the community needs to get together and help this woman to understand that now you have a responsibility to raise. Your focus should be on raising this child to be the best person it can be, not focusing on another man. You need to be focusing on raising your child now because you have a responsibility. The man can wait, but this child needs mama. So what we're going to do is come together collectively and be there for your son. Your son want to learn how to fish. The daddy's not in his life. We go teach him how to fish. We teach him how to be a man. If it's a girl, and then we put him around certain women so he can know what nurturing feels like from a woman other than his mother. We set this child up for success that you didn't have. You made the mistake, but you don't have to continue to be the mistake. So instead of being with these women and dating them and taking their focus off their responsibility, let's uplift them to raise their children. Then when their child gets to a certain age, and then her mind gets to a certain level where now she's thinking like, man, you know what? I do need to date. And when I do date, I'm dating to maybe marry a man instead of being out here just randomly just letting men use me for sex.
Yeah. I think those are
It's
all
building the mind.
great advice, especially you got to take into context, Cannon, he's talking to a 16-year-old. So absolutely. I would tell any single man, especially growing up, like avoid the same exact thing, Black Man Unfiltered. And I think this is the disingenuous part on these YouTube spaces. We want to be so politically correct and have so much. I mean, it's definitely always good to have nuance and be diplomatic the way you speak. However, I mean, there's a reality. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, you just have to call it like it is. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to women, you know, and that have kids and multiple kids, it's the more kids that they have, the less desirable. It's like you make one mistake. Okay. You make two mistakes. Okay. You make three mistakes. Okay. 4 mistakes, 5, 6. You know, when are we going to just call it out and just be like, this is a terrible person who has a history of making bad mistakes.
Exactly.
In decisions.
Right.
Terrible
I don't disagree with you. This
person should not be able to talk or speak or give any other women advice unless they're trying to go down that route of making bad mistakes. Because at the end of the day, I think the majority of women, I'm not going to say all, the majority of women do want a good guy to be with and marry and, you know, sell off into the sunset happily ever after. So if that's the goal, then putting yourself in a predicament when you have baggage is not the most ideal. And I use the word baggage specifically because I'm not trying to be diplomatic. I'm trying to call it like it is.
Right.
And that's candid, and that's what we as men see it as.
Yeah, let me get Love's. I would go Chef then Love C, but let me get Love C, then Chef. If you wanted to say something, Love C. As a single parent who went and got married and definitely qualified for that.
So I think I understand the advice or the direction that like Black Man that you're explaining to your son. I think if you when you're talking to a child that age, I think you do have to you want to tell them what's going to get them the best results, period.
Exactly.
And so that I agree with. What I will say is that from experience, I think that it can be counterintuitive to teach a child from a don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that perspective. I think that it is better to teach people principles and to teach them foundational things, as opposed to, don't date a broke man, don't date a woman with a child, don't date people like this, don't do that. I think it's better to first teach the value and the worth to the individual. You carry value and worth because of this, that you instill value and principle into them first, and then you teach them to look for value and principle. And I say that because you can say, don't date, you can tell your daughter, don't date a man with a kid because his baby mama is probably crazy, and don't date a single mother because her son is gonna not respect you and you don't get any return on investment. But from what I'm hearing, you got all these single people that don't have children, and the quality of those people is no better. The morals, the integrity, the foundation that they have is no better. So it's better, in my opinion, to teach principle and to teach that, this person, you want to be with someone who has integrity, you want to be with someone who has ambition, you want to be with somebody who's honest, you want to be with someone who is accountable. It's better to do that, because then you won't go wrong if you get to the core values of a person. And that's just the way that I believe all the way across the board when it comes to men, when it comes to women, because you can look at a portion of people's lives and you can say, you can write a story based off a portion, but I don't know anyone, that would want you to take just a single portion of their life and then paint their entire life story that way. And so that's something that I believe in. But I also, and especially when it comes to, if you're talking about being a single parent, I don't think that that's something that you should just go, if you decide to do that, that's not something that you should go into haphazardly at all. I think that it takes a great deal of work. It takes a lot of very dedicated people. It takes you have to be extremely intentional. And I'm not to go into my own personal situation, but there are things that many people would not be willing to do, to the sacrifices that you have to make, the stands that you have to take to, because the priority is the marriage. The stands that you have to take will, depending on what your life is set up like, family, friends, people will look and they will not be in agreement, but there's certain way that situation has to be approached to secure the marriage first. And that can become a sticky situation. So, I don't tell people how to parent their children, but one thing I know for sure is if core values are intact and you teach principles as opposed to do and don'ts, I see better results that way.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for that perspective. I didn't even get to what I told my daughters, but that's it. That's for another day. But go ahead, Scam. I know you're gonna get somebody else to talk.
Yeah, let me get Chef in here.
Yeah, so I saw there was a little bit of reaction. It started to ruffle little feathers once BMU started talking about what he would say. Now, remember, we're talking about to a 16-year-old, which technically is considered a child. Was I incensed by it? When I heard it, because I know how to filter certain things through, I heard it, I was like, uh-oh, some people not gonna like it. But then I had to pull the macro lens out a bit and zoom out and understand. When we school children and we teach children lessons and we feed them information, especially within their formative years, we don't teach nuance. Because nuance is something that you can bring to somebody that's actually able to fully reason, where their brain is able to process the white area, the black area, and then the gray areas. So nuance is not something that's taught in the beginning. It's right or wrong. Johnny, never tell a lie. Never tell a lie. But then we understand there's certain nuance-based situations as we grow where telling a lie is being is being polite, right? Telling a lie is being concerning, telling a lie is protection. So we don't teach the kids nuance. We teach them right or wrong. You better not do this. You better not do that. They don't run the spectrum. We give them one end of the spectrum to the other. So at this point, with this 16-year-old young man that is now, his body's working, he has the gifts of God out there, and he may be a good-looking kid, and he may potentially be faced with a lot of these situations. Let's say he's a student athlete because BMU works for football teams, which means he's built, okay?
Football, basketball, track.
Which means that he has already some of the optimal genetic precursors that even if they were animals, that the females of that species would want during mating season.
Mm-hmm.
So we take all of the polish. He is the one that the females of the pride, of the group, of the flock, whatever, will want and position themselves in front of and throw their scents and pheromones at because of his optimal genetic precursors. So when BMU is saying this to a young man and he understands the way it is, you got kids getting pregnant at 12 and 13 years old. I think that he's speaking to a sense of urgency. Do I necessarily think that he's literally speaking to the negativity of that woman or that type of situation? No. There's no time for nuance. In certain situations, that sense of urgency eliminates an opportunity for nuance. So with regards to that approach, remember when I talked about being in specific rooms? That's that room for unc or coach or big brother or big maternal figure or big patriarchal figure to give some of those hard lessons. And of course, if there's, say, 2-parent household, the young man may get the nurture, or, let's say he's just with his mom. He may get the other stuff from his mom that would create a degree of balance. But I do feel that it's necessary that some of those tough conversations happen.
I like that.
So Modesto asked me to come on here, granted the example that Black man used was about a 16-year-old. However, for 1 year, I've been in these spaces, and I know we ain't all talking about 16-year-olds. These conversations are not about 16-year-olds. These conversations are not about 16-year-olds. These conversations have been doom and gloom and lots of negative stuff in general, right? Not about that particular example, but in general. And, me personally, I've ventured away from it because it's not part of my regular life. And
Canada, hold on.
Yeah.
Trey and Teruse, we're not doing that.
Oh, what's going on?
No.
You reading the chat? I don't read the chat. What's going on?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. I got a scam likely. You go ahead and continue, my brother. I got it. I'll take care of it.
I'm not reading the chat, so I don't know what's going on. But, overall, it's been about doom and gloom. And I'm not saying like doom and gloom doesn't exist. I'm just saying that it's just been an overwhelming set of content for a whole year about how men ain't this and just putting each other down. I've seen it on both ends. I'm not putting responsibility completely on men. I'm not putting responsibility solely on women. It's been back and forth. And even within women to women, men to men, it's just been very negative. So for me, in general, I feel like as a group, we can do so much more work. I mean, we've already done the doom and gloom. We've already pointed the finger. We've already talked about accountability. We've already talked about disingenuous. We've already talked about submission. Get me a plate. Yella makes a whole game on, he watches these YouTube videos and makes a damn Scrabble game or some kind of game. How many times they're going to say the YouTube key point talking words, submission, make me a plate, it's just
Yeah, but
become
but
like
but
the
you know
same
what,
thing
Candy?
over and over again.
Right, can I say this real quick though?
Of course, yeah.
We talk about the negativity though, and then we support people who are negative, like Yella. Yella ain't pushing marriage or togetherness. He was saying that he want his son to fuck everything moving. I was on a panel with him one time, and Yella said, I want my son to fuck everything. Put a condom on sometimes you don't have to. Beat them all up, fuck them all.
I don't agree with that.
So my thing is,
I don't agree with that.
I'm over here saying, son, put your penis up. This is the negative thing that's going on in the world. And then we're quoting what Yella's doing, playing a game, but he's telling his son to do the very thing that's causing the problems in our community.
Hold on a second, because this is venturing off into a space that it's not supposed to. I only use that example to highlight how the YouTube talking points are redundant. This is not about that particular content creator, and I don't know if that, I support a lot of different content creators on here, and they have a lot of different views. I don't agree with everything that you guys do, and I don't disagree with everything that you guys do. We all have difference of opinion. So I don't want to start focusing on that, because that is specifically about just the talking point of how it's become redundant. That's the only reason why I mentioned it. All right. So I don't want to be over here doing, throwing shit at
Can
people.
I just say just one thing really quick? And to Black Man and Filter's point,
then I'm gonna get to JT.
Okay.
Go ahead, make it quick.
I like how he said what his son shouldn't do, and kept it black and white. Because he's talking to his son. As far as Love CC, she mentioned you got to teach the principles,
character.
Yeah, and I agree with that 100%. Man, I'm just I don't know Black Man Unfiltered, but based on his conversation and how he talks to his son, I can already assume that he's already established those principles, and just the fact that he's telling his son, like, don't go out there and be reckless. So I mean, that has a lot of principle in and of itself. And I love how Chef, is it Chupino?
Chupino.
Yeah, Chef Chupino. I love how he really drove home the nuance and like the difference between differentiating the black and white versus factoring in the age element of it. And I agree with you for the most part, Candid, and we really should be highlighting a lot of the positives, and even more so, rather than highlighting the positives, be willing to come forth and step in the mirror and look at your own failures. Like me, for example, I'm in my 30s. I do have a son from a previous marriage that didn't work out, so divorced. And I don't see my divorce as, she didn't do this and it's because of this. No, we had a failed marriage. We got married together and we failed together. Right. So it is what it is. And Black Man and Filter, I do believe that he should be telling his 16-year-old son, like, to stay away from, single mothers. And it's not to say that single mothers aren't valuable or they don't have value. I mean, I have one child, so a single mother with one child I don't look at her as like, oh my gosh, no, we made the same mistake. So it's a possibility for us. We might be able to work that out, just depending on if we can align and have like the principles, and they're not too broken. I don't think people are fully damaged. I think everybody has a level of where they can come back, but it's just a matter of what you're willing to put up with. And I think my biggest gem that I've learned is the biggest power that a man has is to walk away and to say no to a woman, even if she's throwing it at him. Like, if you can walk away from that, if she's bad and all this, that's the real power.
Yes. Exactly, bro. I agree with that 1,000%, bro. I say it all the time to my boy. Same thing. The most powerful thing that you have is your words. And a woman trying to come on to you and back that thing up on you, no, I'm good.
You know what? I gotta jump in real quick, and I did pull up something to share. It's just 1 minute, but what it is this. Before I share it, we know we have different members of our family.
Right.
You got the one who's the doctor, the one who's the workout junkie. You got the one, that let you eat whatever you want to eat. You have the one that's telling you guys about getting in the business. I think we each have a different kind of teacher in our life. We got science teacher, we have math, we have the culture, music teacher, and different people bring a specific lesson that consistently resonates, right? I believe that Black Man Unfiltered, that just happens to be his message. and he's extremely consistent. So can I get that 1 minute share real quick, my G? Please. Thank you.
When you find your wife or your wives or whatever it is you got going on, you ready to have your babies, the Almighty will help you do that. But like you said, condoms break, contraceptives don't always work because the will of the Almighty is strong. Why are you testing him?
Yeah, that's what I just go back to what I said, man. Men, listen to me carefully. Listen. Let me get a little closer. Keep your meat pistol in the holster. Unless you really real about her, man, and you really want to marry her and have kids with her, bro, keep your meat pistol in the holster, bro. Because if you don't, man, you're gonna be stuck, bro. There are so many laws, man, that women, I mean, so many rights that women have that men don't. And bro, they can ruin your entire existence. I mean, just with a baby, bro. That's 18 years. And don't think about college.
Yeah.
Listen,
How long ago was that show?
That was geez, that's almost a year ago. That was March.
I've been saying
that
the same
March 2022.
For over a year, has it been effective? It was March last year, you said? March last year, son? And how has it been effective?
Has it been effective to tell men? No, hold on a second. You asked the question. Has it been effective to tell men to keep their dicks in their pants and stop fucking with these women that are trash?
You're misconstruing. I'm saying we're having the same conversation over and over and over again. Do you think in general it's been effective? If the answer is yes,
just like a fifth grade teacher, Candid, just like a fifth grade teacher. A fifth grade teacher has the same conversation every single year.
To different students.
And over, but exactly. To different students. His platform was not yet monetized. His platform had less than half of the people that he has now. You know what used to piss me off when I was a kid? When I used to see comedy shows, and I used to like to go to comedy shows, right?
Yeah.
I used to get mad when I would see comedy shows and I'd see a freaking comedian repeating the same goddamn joke that he had from right. But then we had to understand, but we had to understand he performed for 30,000 in Miami, 20,000 in New York. Is he going to just throw these jokes away after a certain amount of time? If these lessons are what you would consider evergreen, necessary, that means that's a consistent curriculum. It's a cumulative curriculum that has to continue. And then what we would thus do is tweak it and change it as we grow and evolve into different necessary variables of that curriculum. But it has to be repeated because there's probably 1,200 more people watching him now. And when he was on my show, I wasn't even monetized. I might have had about 500, 400 people. So now we monetize, things are cool. So I do believe that if the message resonates and if it's evergreen, then it's going to have to be continued or repeated.
So do you believe there's more than one way to do things?
Let me get JT in here. Y'all done jacked him.
No. It's a good conversation, man. I'm actually involved. I'm listening to what everybody is saying.
No, I got you. Let me get JT in, and then we'll go around 30 seconds.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna drop the link. Everybody's gonna get maybe 2-3 minutes. Married people, y'all speak first because I'm promoting marriage tonight. Then the single, because I mean y'all screwed it up. Now I cheated, but I mean hey, I'm the host. But married first, single second. But we're gonna give y'all a chance to speak on the topic. Go ahead, JT.
So yeah, I think redundancy always wins. Consistency. This is why the United States have the most powerful military, because everything is done off of redundancy. So you have to. If you're looking for immediate resolution, it's never going to happen. But if we're pushing for people like, togetherness, whether it's legal marriage or not, if we're going to push that, then we have to push family, and it has to be redundant, because right now, like I said at the beginning, who are we talking to? Are we talking to the 45-year-olds? Are we talking to the 50-year-olds? Are we talking to the 20-year-olds, the 16-year-olds? Who are we talking to? So the message is still going to be a little bit different depending on what group that we're talking to. When it comes down to the older folks, we have to have a better, and I agree with Candy, we have to have a better conversation than a lot of I'm hearing with these 29, 39s and 49-year-olds. We have to have who's this and who's that, women or men, and all these different things. Man, we can have a better conversation than that. I also agree that we should highlight positivity. I also believe that we should highlight negativity also, but just in a different type of light. We point it out and we talk about the resolution. It's easier to talk to men than it is to talk to women. I mean, a lot of it is going to be, don't do it. And this is why. That's what it's going to be. With men, they're going to say, okay, either they do it or they don't. They're going to find out reality is going to hit them in the head. And eventually they'll be 49, 50 years old and they eventually get it. If, the Lord allows that. But other than that, I'm kind of agreeing with what everybody is saying, man. I'm like, wow, we have different perspectives, but I think everybody is still on the same page with each other, though.
Yeah, and when people say I'm not being positive or I'm pushing a negative narrative, if you're a part of if you're subscribed to my channel and you go to my my community tab, you'll be able to see that I post my players when we donated jackets, and I had some guys come in and pay for the jackets, and I posted my baby girl when she was successful at her basketball game, and I posted on I'm always posting something positive to show that one thing is that this whole narrative that dad is not in their children's lives, I kill that narrative, right? Men are not working in their community. I post me out giving food out to the homeless people or taking it to their houses, right? Because you want to see people to see it, but when you do it, let me be real. I thought I was on somebody else's platform. Shit is mine. Let me be real. You know how niggas is, right? Niggas. This is what they do. Oh, you just showing out. That you in the community. You just showing out. But as soon as I call out something negative, why don't we show anything positive? Right? It's either damned if you do or damned if you don't.
Facts.
Well, I spoke to you that I was one of the people, because I've been following you for a long time now, and I was one of the people to encourage you to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
From the beginning. So just like you've been, I've been, this is consistent with me, and I've been on YouTube for a long time.
Right.
I've been on YouTube before there was live streaming, when you had to upload a video and just have your video upload. I've been on YouTube for 12 years. When you guys are talking about natural hair, when you guys are talking about hobbies, photography, all gardening, all these different things, I've been talking about this. So this is not me coming on here so self-righteous, this has been who I've been for a long time. You can go back, it's recorded. 12 years of me recording videos.
No, but the point I was making, Candid, is that people are, when I post those things, that's what people are saying. They're throwing at me when I'm on panels. Oh, what, you want a cookie because you're in the damn community? Like, this is what I'm hearing when I post positive things.
Yeah,
right? What, you want a cookie because you're helping our boys? You want a cookie? You want somebody to say, oh my God, you want a hand clap? That's what I'm getting.
Black man, some of these people, they are what they are, and it is. We know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been on 1-on-6, 1-on-8 on dust panels, and I know what to expect.
Yeah,
it is what it is with the people. We know this.
And not just that, I think one thing that we think that it can be frustrating, but one thing that I think we don't talk about often is we're talking on these panels a lot of times to adults. And the truth of the matter is that adults are not where it's at. I'm sorry. I'm more
what? About, you said what?
There you go.
The adults are not where it's at. Like, if you're gonna make an effect,
or worth it.
To me, they're not the focus point. If you want to have successful families, if you want to have successful marriages, then the people you need to talk to are the children. You need to work with your own children.
That's what I said earlier.
Your own children. You need to be conscious about the children that are around you, ensuring that they're being raised to express how they feel, that they're being raised to know duty and responsibility, to know that your life isn't dictated by your emotions, you have to feed into the next generation, because right now your adults have their mind made up. You don't have to you can't just give them information. You also have to fight over their biases. You have to fight over their trauma. You have to fight over their damage. And a lot of times it's not worth it. It's better to work with a clean slate. It's better to work with, it's better to start from that place. Now, there will be people that will take the information. You give the information, and if they take it, wonderful. If they're interested, you won't have to beat them over the head with it. They'll come to you and they'll ask for more information. But the focus at this point, to me, it has to be at the teenage level, at the child level. A lot of people are getting into relationships, or they want to be in relationships, and they have no idea what they're supposed to do. They're like, I'm here now, what's my role? As an adult, it's hard to teach you or to break those habits. But if you come in right now and you feed into teenagers, you feed into children, what begins to happen is we create a whole nother generation where they've been trained and taught how to be what they're supposed to be. So you might not get your dream, your second chance, but you can feed into a generation where that can be a possibility, whether that's marriage, whether that's you just being upstanding, whether that's you making sure that, we're not waiting until you're on the news and somebody's 13-year-old child's been abused and killed, and then we're all saying they were a really good child, or we really care about the children. But right then and there, you're able to put judgment on people like, hey, you shouldn't be talking to your child like that. You shouldn't be grabbing him like that. If you need a break, let somebody know. He can come with me. But that's not acceptable for you to abuse and neglect your children. And we all stand by. Because if your children are abused and neglected and traumatized, my children have nobody worthwhile to mate and marry with. So, I mean, I think at this point, we the people who want to come along, let them come. But the children and the teenagers, that's our focus. That's the sweet spot to me.
Can we talk about your free? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, my bad. I was just gonna say, what's heartbreaking, Lovesy, is that when you get these kids and you capture them, like it's an amazing feeling when you have a kid that's troublesome, right? I told Scam Likely this behind the scenes. We had a big old boy, right? 13 years old, probably 6'2", 280 pounds. Bad boy. He's gonna be something different when he get older, right? But he's very angry. And he told me one day, Coach, I'm gonna whoop your ass. You say something else to me. I said, okay, come on. And I ain't gonna say what would happen if something happened.
No, nothing happened.
And after that happened, he has nothing but respect for me. I captured him right up here. Right, we just sit down and talk. Let's just go sit by the water. I take my sons and we take him. Right, I captured him here. But guess what? The worst thing is, Candid Ann, I loved it. I said, man, I want to keep him. I said, oh Lord, let me adopt this boy. Right. And the thing is, I got to pull up to that house. And here come this purple head woman coming to the door. Get your ass in there and do this and get your ass over here. I'm like, oh, I'm taking him right back to the poison. I'm taking him right back to what makes him angry. I'm taking him right back to what stresses and depresses him. How can I help him? And I got to take him right back to the poison. His mama, I can't change the mama, but I got to him, but I can't keep him because his mama is the problem.
Okay.
Yes. Can I jump in there?
His mama.
Can I jump in there real quick? I'm sorry. This is important, right? So my day job, I'm executive for a particular company. We do a thing called executive calibrations. What are calibrations, right? What calibrations is that each of us, for our respective organizations or groups that we manage, we as leaders come together and we put situations up in front of us at the table, and we all together collectively come to a consensus on what is considered appropriate behavior, unsatisfactory behavior, behaviors that should be rewarded and behaviors that should be disciplined or punished, right? We calibrate. And I'm glad Black Man Unfiltered brought that point up. The whole point is, yes, we have to teach the kids. They're the ones that's going to learn. That's the blank slate. Got it. Let's teach them. Even in terms of education system, there's a school board. There's a board of education. There is a group that is designed to pretty much assist in coming up with a living curriculum, right? So we have to agree on what's the good stuff to teach and what's the bad stuff to teach. So what's going on right now when we talk about our community and we talk about the generations coming behind us, we have no choice but to speak to ourselves because we are the teachers. And by proxy, we design that global curriculum. And if we can't get what's right in terms of our own personal, here we go to the word, accountability, right? And come to a consensus or agreement that the way that I lived my life was incorrect. We have to be able to do it ourselves. I have to be the person that says the way that I lived my life is not synonymous with the way that I want my son to live his life, and it was not optimal. And I have to be able to hear that criticism, absorb that criticism, and then move forth from it. But the thing is, we're at the point where some people are saying, you can't say that to me. Why are you saying this? Why are you saying that? The problem is we are the teachers and we can't even come up with a current curriculum because I don't think that we are clinically, diagnosing ourselves. What y'all think about that?
What you said was you said
go ahead,
a lot, and we'll talk about that as we go around. But I wish I could dig deeper into that because you said a lot of very important things there. A lot.
Yeah, I'll make it quick.
I know we're short on time though.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it quick. Then I'm gonna drop the link. I'll say this part. Everybody's different. At the end of the day, we don't have a community and established ground, and everybody do this in a whole document full of where to go, how to do, and what to do to be successful. We're just out here, and it is what it is. Most people are on their own, and if anything, if you had something, they're gonna try to take it from you, and the people who are gonna take it from you probably even look like you and they're right next to you. That's just what it is. Sorry to say the gloom and doom. That's the bad part. The good news is most of these people, as far as competition to win, are garbage. These people weak. So to go out here and succeed, look at to your left and your right. You tell them you can't beat that. The reading, the fitness, the finances, their mentality is garbage. To the point where they're recruiting foreigners to go out here to maintain the infrastructure because the people just can't get nothing done. Go to Wendy's, Walmart, your customer service field, whatever business, the people just can't do it. They just can't. They lose it. But I'll say this: every one of us, and I got some decent people, and some of y'all are people I learned from in one way or another. Love C, Candid, and I got some positive
Manic,
married people. Manic genius. I got it. Chef is an awesome listener. Candid and Love C are showing the example of what you can get if you get this right from Watt. If you get this right, this is what you can get as a wife. Manny challenges people on these dusty talking points. And hey, if you need backup, you know where to find me. Me and the trolls, we got you.
Yeah.
And JT, they're on the ground talking to the youngsters. These decent people. But we all have a talent. We all got a strong point. And I'm a master troll. But y'all are starting to notice that trolling ain't surface level. This goes 6, 7, 8 levels deep. So I still got people week after week after week. Oh, I get it now, scam likely. Every time. But hey, that's my gift. I'm going to try to do the best with what I got. Sometimes it got to be some blood and somebody got to get dusted off. It's whatever. But let's use our best tools to try to help out the people the most. Anyway, I'd look like the link dropped. I'm going to try to pull some get the married people up first. We promote marriage today.
Hey, I'm gonna drop because I got early work meetings.
Hey, appreciate your perspective, Manic Man.
Yeah, I appreciate the conversation. This is not what I expected it to be. I was about to try to go in on people, but I was like, hey, this is great.
Like, hey, Manic, you want to give final thoughts before you close out?
Yeah. Final thoughts on the panel, real quick. This was an excellent conversation. I think everybody really added a layer of depth when it came to understanding everyone's perspective. I brought some new perspectives. Black Men Unfiltered brought a whole bunch of perspectives, and I felt like everybody was able to layer on top of it. And even when we didn't quite agree or had some disagreement, there was so much layers that we could come to an understanding of, okay, we understand that perspective, especially with Chef Shupino. I probably got that wrong, but I'm still working on it. Yeah. And Love C, principles, absolutely. Morals and, JT, just everybody. So I really appreciate this conversation. This has been one of the most mature and, quite frankly, best panels I've been on in a while, where we're just not here trying to promote our own, fuckery. We're actually, seeing what we say or seeing, relaying what we see and trying to find a solution and get to the bottom of it. And I really appreciate that. So I'll definitely be back on if you guys will have me. So
absolutely, my brother. If you want to come chill with us on Fridays, we have barbershop talk on every Friday at 8:30, man. So we'd love to have you stop by on that.
All right, appreciate y'all.
I appreciate you, my brother. Have a good night, man.
All right.
Yeah, I got a back chat full of single people. Can I get one married person come up first?
Yeah, you got one back there. You got one. You got one, fool. I'm telling you. Hold on, you ain't looking. Hold on. Oh, there you go. There you go. My bad. I lost him. There you go.
Hi.
What's going on, my brother? Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead.
Hey, man, you guys are a bunch of doom and gloomers. You know that. I'm going to come up here and say that.
All right, Scam, you got it. Oh my God. I thought Scam had froze up on us. What your question is, Scam?
Where's my question?
Oh, no, you say you want a married person to come up. You had a question.
People, I think. What's the question?
Oh, no, I just want to marry people y'all can ask a question. You can speak on the topic. But
oh yeah, I think you guys are doom and gloomers, man. Like, you guys always talk about these conversations about marriage from the perspective of gender roles. And April 4th, bro, I'll be married for 15 years. And not once have I ever gone, what's my wife's role? You want to know why? Because we don't really do much different in marriage that we didn't do in the dating. Like, we still go on trips. We still go on road trips. We still go on dates. We still go to the movies. We still go to comedy shows. Now, sometimes our road trips are just with our kids. Sometimes we go on movie nights with our kids. Sometimes we just go on family vacations. You guys talk about marriage like it's so robotic, like relationships, like it's an obligation. Like, when you guys talk about marriage, it makes me not want to be married. You get what I mean? Like, that's how dire y'all make this shit seem like. It's supposed to be fun. Marriage is a lifelong journey and experience that's not over in theory until you're dead. So you guys keep talking about marriage like each person is supposed to come in as a finished product, like a finished package. You never become a finished package until you drop dead, because it's an experience, a relationship, a bond that you go through together. Like, you guys always talk about, oh, we need to be leading. Like, bro, you're not Thor. You don't drop the hammer every day. Guess what you do? You go to work and you freaking type on the computer or code, or you out here talking tough on the internet, or you out here, doing military stuff, or you out here just doing whatever. But guess what? You're not Captain America. We're not Thor. We're not Iron Man. We're Tyrus. Oh, but yeah, I'm Reggie. You're just Gusto. You just AT and BN. But y'all guys want to talk about yourselves like marriage, like it's a warlord tyrant thing, bro. Marriage is just a bond you have with each other going through. Because guess what? Your kids grow up and move out the house, right? Then what do you do? What goes up? Is the marriage over with after that, or do we keep it going? Did somebody answer me that?
Well, in my house, I can't speak for nobody else's house, but in my house, the golden rule is that children are a part of the family. They're not a part of my marriage. So when the kids are gone, what we already had, we've already had. We already practicing marriage. We already practicing togetherness. So when my kids are gone, they were a part of the family. They were never a part of the marriage.
Okay, so what are you doing now? So, like, in the hypothetical, when the kids finally leave the house,
Mhm.
what dynamics is going to change between you and your wife?
I'll be able to have sex in the living room on the couch in the middle of the day without the kids coming in and seeing me.
That's it?
No, I'm just bullshitting with you. It's a lot. You have more when your kids are gone
Like,
and they're out. Yeah, when your kids are gone and they've graduated and they've gotten married and moved on with their lives, things become more open for you, right? Because you don't have that responsibility. You don't have to have kids at baseball practice, softball practice, basketball practice. You know, you can go on a date any night of the week you want to go on a date. You can travel whenever you want to travel because now I have responsibilities. My daughter plays softball. My son runs track. My other son plays basketball, football. So I'm all over the place, right? We
right.
make time for each other, but we'll have more time once we grow our children up and get them out of the household.
So what happens when you think you finally got to that point and
Mhm.
then your daughter calls, "Oh my God, Dad, he cheated on me. I got to come back and move on and move in."
Are you
Oh,
pitching gloom and doom, sir?
This is a doom and gloom panel, so let's speak about the worst, since y'all only want to talk about the worst.
so
I,
What
I'm not
happens in
doom and
this
gloom.
hypothetical?
hold on. So Candyman is not doom and gloom, but we'll say
Neither
this.
am I.
And neither is okay. Scam. So my thing is this:
Yes, so
if
you
my
not
daughter
doom and
calls,
gloom.
if my daughter calls me and says, "Daddy, he
Mhm.
cheated on me," right? She didn't say, "Daddy, he beat my ass." She said, "Daddy, he cheated on me." You need to go and talk with your husband. You need to go and sit down and have a conversation with your husband, and y'all need to figure that out, right? If he's threatening your life, okay, that's one thing, right? But if it's just something like that, y'all got to deal with it. You're a married couple. You committed to be with this man through good times and bad. It's a bad time right now. Y'all need to go sit down and figure that out.
Okay, so I definitely do it differently. I tell my daughters the same thing. Hypothetically, I would tell my son if I had two boys instead of two girls. Anytime you need to come back to the crib and figure it out, come on back home and we'll figure it out. That's the automatic response because at the end of the day, parenting doesn't end at 18. If anything, it's almost like a massive multiplayer game. It's almost like World of Warcraft or anything like this. Once you get to max cap, that actually begins the game. You actually was just going through the training phase and now you're at the end game. Bro, it actually gets harder to be a parent the older they get. Because guess what? You're actually going to see them practice everything you taught them in the real world. And boy, oh boy, is that going to be interesting. And what
And
is
see the
some of
thing.
the things? Oh, go ahead.
What happens is, I'm gonna say this because we gotta get other people to come up. But what happens is, if my daughter called me and say, "Daddy, I need to come back home," what happens is, my daughter could start using me as a weapon toward her husband. I don't have to be here. I can go back to my daddy 5-bedroom, 3-bedroom house and live up in that motherfucker for free and leave your ass here by yourself. Right?
Right.
You don't want to become a crutch for your children. That's son or daughter. You don't want to become a crutch. You want to teach them responsibility. That is your wife. That is your
Again,
wife. You go talk to your wife.
you
And that's
gave your
your
daughter
husband.
all
You go
these
talk to your husband.
principles. You gave your daughters all these principles, but the man she ended up marrying still cheated and kicked her out. What is BM doing? You're gonna say
If
exactly that to her? Hey,
kick
I
my
know you
daughter,
got kicked out. You can't come back home. But look, you need to kind of,
So now we moving the goalposts. If a
Now we
man
didn't
puts
move
his
the
hands,
goalposts.
so okay, I'll do it like this. I don't want the algorithms to take this the wrong way. If a man puts
And
his
I didn't
hands
move
on
the
my,
goalposts.
you didn't. If he kicks my daughter out, you say he physically kicked my daughter out of the house, he put his hands on my daughter, he dies.
No,
But
like,
we're
hey,
not
this is
talking
my
about
house.
that.
Get out. Like, yo, get out.
Yeah. If he
My
puts her out
point
and he doesn't physically touch her, oh, cool, that's fine. You can put her out, but you're married to my daughter, so half of this shit in this fucking house belongs to her. So, motherfucker, you got to go on the east wing, and she's gonna stay on the west because my daughter's not gonna be out on the street. That's just not how that works.
But she's not coming home to daddy's house.
No. She's gonna stay at her own house.
Okay.
But thank you, Tyrus, man. We gotta get other people up here, man. I appreciate your perspective all the time, man. I appreciate you always rocking the damn boat. All right, appreciate you, brother. All right, now we got my brother up here from another mother. We got Bethany. Oh, I'm sorry, Scam like, but Bethany just came out. I'm in host mode. My bad. I apologize, brother. Go ahead.
Hey, Bethany, girl.
No, you're good.
Bethany
Hey,
in the Caribbean, John came up.
hey, how is everybody doing?
Hey,
Doing
Bethany.
well. So happy to see another lady come up.
Hello.
What's going on? Another married lady in the building.
Yes.
What's going on, girl?
Yes.
Oh, we're saying blessed and busy over here. Look, y'all know I don't cam up too much anymore. We moving and shaking over here. So hubby's
I know
like, you
that's
ain't got
right.
time for that, hon.
I know that's
I
right.
said, I
Yeah,
understand.
I'll be back for
I
final thoughts.
understand.
I'm dropping it back.
What you finna do, Scam?
I'm gonna drop it
So
back.
on the
So maybe,
topic,
I'll come back with final thoughts.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. All right.
okay, so on the topic of marriage, I think yes, these YouTube spaces, we are trying to promote marriage, but yes, doom and gloom happens. Um, the good are kind of suffering with the bad. But as a married woman of 7.5 years, two sons, honestly, this message hits home because we're raising sons. And I said in the comments, I have to start praying for my future daughter-in-law because I don't know what kind of household they're coming from. And if we look at the current society, it's going to be hard in 20 years for my sons to choose a wife because the pickings will be slim
Yep.
if what we're seeing is the example now. Um, but with that being said, I think that as a woman, as a married woman, I would want to talk to single ladies. It's all about what you're putting out there. What are you dressing like? What are you looking like? What are you posting? All those things are dictating the type of woman you are
Mm-hmm.
and the company you keep. Men are watching for that. And I think when we promote marriage and the word submission, oh, that trigger word, yes, submission. Submission is not this control factor that the husband is just hanging over your head. No, it's a covering. And if women would see it from that perspective, it shouldn't be this fear-based idea of getting into marriage. Oh, what I can and cannot do. Think of marriage as now you have more freedom now that you're married. And not freedom in this feminist kind of way, just freedom of I may not have to work as hard anymore because I have a man that's covering me, that's covering these bills, that's taking care of this household. But I'm, as the woman, is making it a home and I get the pleasure of raising our children and homeschooling them or bringing them to practices and just nurturing our next generation. That's a privilege. And I don't think we see it as that.
We need to talk about that more. That's wonderful. I feel like that's one of the wonderful things about marriage that we need to talk about. Like, how many Black people are over here talking about the wonders, the beautiful aspect of homeschooling our kids? I'm happy you said that. Thank you for sharing that.
And you know what? I wish I had the time to have a YouTube channel. I wish I did. My husband works in production, so I would have all the camera and lights I need, but
Man,
we
come on.
physically don't have the time. It is just not the time. And unfortunately, my husband is like, we're building something for this household, and it can come off as a very selfish thing at first. But it's like, we got to get this household straight, get certain things here done, and then we can give back. And I'm like, okay. Will that be 5 years? Will that take 10 years? I don't know. But I love promoting marriage. I love talking about it. You don't want to give too much details into your personal life because my husband is a private person. But it's just like the society needs to hear our perspective. And it may be just our 2 cents. But he kind of feels like, man, this conversation has been going on for the last couple of years. Are people willing to change? So I get what Candy Ann is saying. Like that whole thing, it feels like we're beating a dead horse, but we are reaching new viewers. We need to reach out to the younger generation at the end of the day. That's who this message is really for. It's not for the 40-year-old woman who's stuck in her ways. It's not. It's for, I would say, 35 and younger. You still have a little time to get your stuff together and be a possible good spouse.
Hey, Bethany, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Are you familiar with the content creator Family Values?
Yes.
I would love to have her on the show because Family Values does that very thing that you're talking about with her husband.
Mm-hmm.
And I had and Mandrell was a witness to this. She came on my platform, her and her husband both. And when I tell you that them single women got in that chat and ate this woman alive because she said, I obey my husband, I listen to my husband. I raise my babies. I homeschool my children. And they were saying, girl, they went in on this woman. And that at that point, I didn't realize. I was like, okay, we talk about more positive stuff. People will gravitate to it. But women were saying, oh, you're trying to shame women that don't have that. Why are you shaming women that don't have that? Every woman can't have no man like that. Why are you promoting that? Why aren't you trying to talk about individualism and family values? I refuse to do that. She said, I will leave my whole channel before I talk about individualism.
It was a lot of them that was saying that she was promoting slavery.
Slavery. There you go. I didn't want to say it, but you said it. She was promoting slavery. Exactly.
I was gonna bring that up too. There's some women just flat out calling it slavery. And I was
Exactly.
like, you know what I'm saying? It was in the chat. I normally don't read the chat, but it was to the point where it actually got my attention. Like even tonight, I've been watching y'all, but I haven't read the chat. I normally do not. I pay the chat no attention. But even that night, it was to the point where everyone's looking at. I'm like, what is everyone looking at? And then in the back chat, they're like, man, hey, y'all see what's going on in the chat? I looked at it. I was like, I went back to the chat and I'm reading. I'm just like, see, this is why y'all don't get nowhere. Like you can tell someone the nicest, sweetest thing, but they always take it the wrong way. They just, I mean, it just depends on how the person takes it. You know what I'm saying? I'll wait till my turn to talk.
Yeah. So, guys, we're going to go to the Jordan River and see the baptism of Jesus because John the Baptist is in the building. John the Baptist, what's going on, my brother?
What's going on with you, black man? How you doing today?
Man, I'm sunshine, partly cloudy, my brother. Good to see you, man.
Hey, yeah. So, to answer the question, I've been married for 27 years.
Congratulations, my brother.
Congratulations. I think 27 years. Be 27 years this August. No, I'm sorry, 28 years this August. I'm losing count. My bad. But to the question, are we preaching marriage or doom and gloom? I'm kind of perplexed how to answer that question. I thought I had the answer down, but I honestly have to say it's like slaughtering a hog.
Come on.
And I love hogs, so let's
I
get
do
this
too.
straight.
Come on, you slaughter them.
I'm not. So if anybody that's a Muslim, just turn me off for a second. But my great aunt, she used to raise hogs, and she would every fall they would slaughter 1 or 2 hogs. But it's an ugly, messy process.
It is.
I'm not going to all the details because I don't want to gross the ladies out, but it's an ugly, messy process. But by the time they get that hog slaughtered and cut up and cooked, boy, it was a feast. It was a good time. That's kind of how marriage is. So you're promoting doom and gloom because you're gonna have doom and gloom in marriage. You're gonna have ups and downs, but then you're gonna have the feast too. You're gonna enjoy the good times, and that's what it is. But I think we live in a society now where everything has to be good. We just want the feast without the process of slaughtering it, without seeing the blood and the gooey stuff, and you can't have that. And so when we say doom and gloom, I'm like, you have to have the doom and the gloom. You have to have the kids don't listen. You have to have you and the wife going at the not agreeing, having any disagreements and arguments. You have to have the times where maybe if you're both working, you're working long, difficult shifts, and you're missing each other, like ships in the night, missing each other. You have those events, and then you wake up and your kids are 20, 25, and 26, and your kids are 20, and they all grown, and then you're like, wow, they went by fast. And so now that our kids are grown, we're almost empty nesters now. You just sit back, we going out taking more vacations, we eating out the restaurants we want to eat out at. And so, but you had to go through all of the arguments and you're not home to do the homework, you're not here to do this, and you're not. But now you look back, it's a feast now. And to the comment that was made earlier, and I'd be quiet because I don't want to take up the whole time. But to the part that was mentioned earlier, you don't never start raising kids, and you don't, but it becomes easier because now they don't need you to do everything for them. They just need you for every now and then for a phone call, like, Dad, how do I do this? Or Mom, how do I do in this situation? Then you hang on the phone, and you don't think about them again. Well, from a man perspective, it is, but it's all good though.
Hey man, appreciate that perspective, my brother, and thank you for being here tonight, being a part of the show. Information, I think it was no, Ronan came in, then Information Man. Ronan, what are your thoughts? And then Information Man right after Ronan.
It's good to be here. Good to see you guys out here doing your thing. And I think we allow outside influence to govern how we're moving. When you have an actual relationship, you guys set the tone for how you're going to move the next generation. You learn from what you came through in the past mutually, and then you set the blueprint to how you're going to move forward, not just by yourselves, but through the community. That's how you establish a community. But right now we have the ethnic outpost, which basically we're just out here in survival mode. But actual communities move different. You have a collective that have a set of narratives and standards that they share mutually. So I don't really pay attention much to what's being said on these online or in these big spaces because number one, most people try to monetize mediocrity, and number two, there's a lot of people who are not field tested. They're just going by fear and assumptions. So this is where we start looking at the those who have been established, who've been through adversity. You take those lessons, you trust, that communication you guys build together. And again, you move forward. Meanwhile, you maintain that communication, not just with each other, but you communicate through your actions. So that's just fucking stupid. But in my way, that's my opinion. And that's me seeing it as a single guy. So
That dude's stupid, bro. Facts. Get out of here with that, man. Facts, you stupid. All right, Information Man, what you got for us? Then after Information Man, we get Mandrell and coming up the rear. Go ahead. Pause. You muted, Information Man.
You're suffering from mutation.
Who's snoring?
Myself. There we go.
I don't know, bro.
I was listening to the conversation tonight. There was a lot of, I think, powerful things that were said tonight. I don't look at it as a gloom and doom because sometimes you have to speak reality. I was married once for 15 years. I had an amicable breakup with my wife. We worked together to raise our daughter. We have no drama. I have 50-50 custody, as I've told you brothers before. But when I look back as a 53-year-old man and I look at the mistakes I made in the marriage, the mistakes that she made in the marriage, I realize more and more marriage is what you make it. It doesn't have to be gloom and doom. It's what you put into it. You get out of it what you put into it. There were things that I didn't put into it, things that she didn't put into it that ultimately led to us not being able to go past 15 years. And we both have talked about this and analyzed this and what have you. But although we're not together as a married couple, we still feel that it is important to be civil as it relates to how our daughters see us relate to each other. And I think for those of you that are married or in relationships that are committed, I think it's important for our kids to see loving relationships between black men and black women. If you want to stop the gloom and doom, because I do think some of the problems are intergenerational, everybody. Certain generation, I'm a Gen Xer, certain generations grew up and had certain value for marriage and certain things that we grew up with. This generation of millennials and Z generation, they got a different way that they look at it. Some of these young brothers out here don't want to get married because they've seen their uncles, their fathers, who might have lost a lot in marriage when they've gotten a divorce. So you have a different generation that has a different perspective, but that can always be modified through the next generations coming up based on how we recognize marriage. We need to have more couples promoting relationships and marriage. I had a show that I did on my channel where I had married couples and I had them talk about the issue of black love. We spent a lot of time talking about what's wrong with black men and black men and women relationships, but we should also spend some balanced time of showing people who are in relationships that are working, but they can also tell you the ups and downs of their relationship that they're still working on because it's all a work in progress. But I think when we project that image to the younger generation, they will hopefully grow up and maybe have a better value for marriage based on what they are witnessing in the household between mother and father. So I think that's very, very, very important. Black Man Unfiltered, as I was listening to you talking about working with youth and some of the unfortunate things that you were experiencing, I experienced it as well because I've done a lot of work with youth. And I think, once again, to change this dynamic, I think black men who you hear on these social media streets always constantly saying I'm an alpha male, or that men are supposed to be in charge and leaders, your leadership is by action and less talk. So I've been on panels where I've asked brothers many times, are you supporting a black male organization? Either you're involved in a ground level commitment to the community, or are you supporting an organization that's doing the work that maybe you don't have time to do? And it can be as quiet as you could hear a rat pissing on cotton because nobody answers that question. So when black men are mentoring black young men, that's where we give them those seeds and those gems about relationships. In my fraternity, we have a program called Project Alpha, where we talk about teenage pregnancy, what a young man's responsibility is if he was to impregnate a young lady or not to pregnate at all. We have we talk about diseases and all these different things that we do in our mentorship program. We also have a program in our various cities around the country where we bring in families, fathers and mothers, to counsel them and find out what are they struggling with in their relationship as it relates to raising their kids. These are things that I've been involved with, and these are the things that make the difference, that don't make the 10 o'clock news, that we don't talk about on YouTube many times because people like the doom and gloom aspect. But Black Man Unfiltered, despite the things that you are experiencing, at the end of the day, and you know this, you're making a difference in those young black men's life, because they're going home and they're dealing with some things that are dysfunctional, but you could be the seed. You could be the individual that can change that young man away from thinking that because his mother may have issues, that not all black women are like that, because oftentimes, whether black men on these YouTube streets want to admit it or not, a lot of our issues that we have with women can lay right down at the footsteps of what the relationship was with our mothers. Back in the day, the old school folks used to always say, you can tell how a man treats a woman, how he may treat his woman based on how maybe he treated his mother, based on the interpersonal relationship with your mother. And a lot of people don't want to be honest about it. They have had problems with their mothers, even with fathers. And we continue to push these negative images from one generation to the other. And the only way to stop that cycle is to do what you're doing, brother, which is to show these young men that there's a different aspect, that even if you didn't have a father in your life or a mother that you got along with, you don't let that affect you in your relationships going forward. You have to try to rise above those things, although it's painful and it can have lasting impact on young people. But I think marriage is a beautiful thing. It's the institution, and it's the only institution that's going to get the black community out of the rut that it's in, economics and family structure. And let's remember, as I close and land my plane, when black people were in slavery, coming out of slavery into Reconstruction, into Jim Crow, what was one of the first things that black people did when they were being mistreated in that horrific situation that many of us can't imagine because we didn't go through it like they did? And that is marriage. Because remember, it was forbidden for black people to be married in this country, right? This is where you get the jumping of the broom. So once they came out of that situation, they covered marriage, the foundation of family. And that has always been the foundation of black people. And we cannot forget that, even though we have some bumps along the way with our different generations to see marriage a different way. It is the foundation. And once we deviate from that foundation, of course, you have to find women that are marriageable. Women have to choose men that are marriageable as well. But once we get away from that foundation, we are doomed and gloomed. And that is one of the reasons why I think some of our black communities are in the condition that they're in, because of that breakdown in family structure, plus economics plays a role in that. I'm going to land my plane there and jump off the panel. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Great program tonight, and I appreciate you all.
And information, man, before you leave, and I want to share this earlier with Candid Ann. One of the things I did not say that really, and just to be being transparent, guys, that really broke my heart that I haven't gotten over yet. In 2021, one of the young men that I was mentoring, right, that came and slept on an air mattress in my house with my sons, he is locked up right now for capital murder.
Oh God!
So, and every day I get up, I think about this boy every day, right? I just, and I'm thinking, how did I lose him? How did I lose him? And y'all can look it up now. Duncanville, Texas, there was a child came up missing out of a house, and they say that this young man took this child's life. And this man slept in the house with my children. This young man slept in the house with my babies, my children. I never saw any of that in him. I can't believe. Sometimes I have a discernment of a young man really, really good, but I couldn't see this in him. And so when they arrested him and they called me, they say, I say capital murder. What? No, I don't believe that.
But you know, Black Men Unfiltered, when you work with so many young black men, unfortunately, along the way, there are going to be those that you may work as hard as you can to help change the course of their life, but their environment and their family structure might be so strong and so polarizing that you can't. So that's sort of, it kind of comes along with the territory when you're dealing with so many black youth, that there's some that you're going to be able to help, and there's some that, unfortunately, because we all are given free will and choice, that they're going to make some bad choices. Look, I deal with young men, black men in the prison system in California, and most of them that I counsel and talk to, brother, tell me that I made bad choices. The gang became my family. I made bad choices. I didn't listen to someone that was trying to help me at one point. And unfortunately, that's a reality that's tough to deal with, but it's a reality. But then there's also the fruits of those youth who grow up into adulthood, and they tell you, if you weren't there for me, I wouldn't be where I am today. So it kind of balances itself out because, unfortunately, we're human. We can't save everyone. We're just one person doing our work. But the fact that you're doing something is better than doing nothing, and it can make a difference in a young person's life, period. Yeah. And that young man may grow up to be a great husband to a woman and have a great family. And I've had that experience personally. So it can work, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Great show tonight.
I really appreciate you.
Yes, thank you as well, brother, and everybody on the panel.
Absolutely, man. If you haven't subscribed to Information Man, go do that. Please go do that. He just had a great show on the policies of. They passed something in Congress to level down YouTube content creators on certain things they can and cannot do, and it's going to be very detrimental to some of us. And
well, what it is they're holding YouTube, Twitch, and other streaming platforms responsible for what some of the content creators are doing and saying. You know what I mean? Like, say someone comes up here and they pull their pants down, and then a parent sees that and they're upset about it because their child saw it. They can now sue YouTube for that action. So now, shit rolls downhill, as we said in the Army. YouTube now has to put more strict rules on content creators to prevent that kind of thing from happening if they're held liable. If they're going to be held liable. So that's what's
just I'm gonna let you because that's a whole nother show. But I'm gonna say this and then you can go into your soliloquy on what's going on with the show tonight. It's amazing that we're limited to what we can say. But our daughters can go to school with their little friends and listen to WAP. Watch the video. Watch Megan Thee Stallion crawl on the floor and throw her ass back. Watch Megan Thee Stallion climb up a pole and Cardi B just licking cream off a woman's back. But if we say a few words, we can be penalized for it. Indoctrinate
with the alphabet community.
Man.
That's hey. Listen, we're gonna talk about that Friday. We're gonna talk about that Friday.
No,
We're gonna talk about that Friday.
we're talking about that tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let you. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Mandrill, go ahead.
Little
Wait,
podcast.
did Ronan have something?
No, he already went.
Well, I said something real quick. It's like,
oh yeah, go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry.
It was a quick question. Like, do you guys think that we're fearful or have been taught to be fearful of generational success?
No, I think we're just flat out taught not to be successful in a roundabout way. It's in a very indirect way.
Mm-hmm.
If you heard your entire life, you ain't this, you ain't that, you ain't never gonna, you're worthless, this, that, and the other. How many people do you think have the mental fortitude to look past that and believe in themselves?
Mandrill, reverse it, Mandrill. Remember the parents used to say, "What you want to be when you grow up? A doctor? Who paying for that shit?
Yeah.
Shit, you better find something else."
Yeah, things like that as well. That's a very indirect. That's a very indirect way
exactly
of promoting and pushing your child into living a life of mediocrity.
Exactly.
And that's the ceiling. Mediocrity is the ceiling.
I think we as black people have been conditioned to take the safest route because we're afraid of failure.
The path of least resistance.
So I think when you choose, I'm sorry, go ahead and cut y'all.
I said, black men have taught me, and I've told him this all the time. It's human nature to take the path of least resistance.
Exactly.
And the thing is, and this segues into my point about tonight's discussion. Yeah, this conversation is doom and gloom. When you look at panel after panel, you look at night after night, you hear clowns get up here saying that marriage is a dictatorship. What world do you live in, bro? You know what I'm saying? Where do you think that's going to work? But, I mean, the thing is, you have to be... No one's talking about the kind of man you have to be for real and how to get there. You know what I'm saying? To be married. How strong your will has to be, how to get your will to be that strong. No one's teaching that. You know what I'm saying? But when you do make programs about how to do that, people don't watch it. What's so funny?
And man, the world class teasing you, bro. That's all. Look.
Is it like discount Charles Barkley?
And see stuff like that. That when you were making points and stuff like that, things like that happen, and everyone's distracted.
Oh man.
I don't mind the joke though. He's all right. I'm gonna have one for him though. All right. I'm gonna have look, don't worry about it. I got something for him too. I got something for him too. But my point is this conversation, it is doom and gloom. It bottom line, because like Black Man, how many times have I done a conversation on finances or fitness? I had people come on the panel, and Kennedy, you were there for my first one I ever did on fitness, and someone argued with me about it. Why are we even talking about this? The person said.
12 people watching.
Right, and there's 12 people watching, and one of them got up there and argued with me about it. I'm just like,
but Andrew, you know the difference though between, and I'm gonna say this because, like I said, men have to be more transparent. Scam Likely and I had, we talk behind the scenes on the phone. Mandrell and I as well, and me and JT, we talk, right? And so Mandrell told me one day, "Hey man, you need to do so. Get your fat ass out there and start jogging, walking, you fat motherfucker." Right? I'm like, you motherfucker. But he's telling the truth because Mandrell wants me more. Right. Mandrell wants me to be more healthy. So I said, okay, I got to do that. Right? Scam Likely say, you know what, motherfucker? By this date, if you don't have this many pounds off, I'm gonna start trolling your ass on every show you do. Right? And I'm saying, okay, bro, I got you. We good, right? But when Mandrell is talking about when he was doing that show about health and doing all this other stuff, women were in the chat saying, a man need to love me for me. If I'm this weight, why are we body shaming? Why are we talking about how big people are? Why we shouldn't be body shaming? Everybody ain't meant to be a size 2. Everybody ain't meant to be a size 8. Why are we body shaming? This is body shaming, right? And so people are going to argue with every positive thing you try to do. Mandrell did that show being positive as hell about being healthy, eating better, and doing all this other stuff, but he got a lot of pushback because the narrative that we're seeing Canada in, this is what I want to ask Canada in, the narrative that the women are setting now is, for men and women are pushing the narrative. It's body shaming to tell someone to lose weight.
And every woman is not meant to be built like a truck engine either.
Right. And the thing is also, like Canada,
it's called, it's body shaming. And now, even at your jobs, at my corporate job, if you say something about somebody's weight, or even on the outs, like even if outside of work, you can be sued, because body shaming is no longer tolerated. You can't tell nobody you too big, you need to lose some weight now. Oh no, they don't work no more.
And the thing is, it's so bad with the fitness that doctors are now afraid to tell people that they need to lose weight.
Listen,
they
you
don't
ain't
want to lose
telling
their
me
life.
nothing because I'm a nurse. So
Right.
I have bariatric patients and I have to wipe their bariatric bodies, wash
yeah.
them and clean them and take care of them. So like, I 100%
Right.
understand.
And I can't get it
I'm not
in.
going to focus on what the chat says and the negativity pushback. What I
Right.
will tell you, Black man, is if you are interested still, Chris Jones, he has like, I hope that you can see this. This is for women, right? And unfortunately, I'm not this weight. He doesn't have one for my size, but you can download a meal plan. I'm about solutions. I'm not going to sit up here and
Hey,
tell
send
you.
that to me. Email it to me, Candy, if you
No,
don't
you got
mind.
to buy it. It's a Black man. Let's support Black businesses. It's a Black man. He's
No.
on
I'm saying
YouTube.
like send me the
I'll send you
title
the
of it.
link.
Yeah.
If anyone's interested in
Yeah.
losing weight or need meal plans or anything like that, Chris Jones has been on here for a long time. I downloaded his meal plan. I printed out the meal plan, but he also has exercises that you can, it's like if you go to the gym and you're like overwhelmed and you're like, what do? I don't even know where to begin. He has like day 1, do this, day 2, do that, day 3, do this, take a break. And he has it laid out for you if anyone is interested in changing that aspect of their life, because I'm not going to sit around here and talk about like, the negative stuff. I'm going to offer solutions. And then every time somebody asks me a question, if I have the capacity to, I'm going to offer solutions, and people can say what they want to say. Like I don't give a fuck. I'm going to go ahead and offer solutions, and that's where I lie. So, that's the solution. That asks me about what do I feel about people body positivity. I don't have any emotional feelings about it. If you want to lose weight, that's how to do so.
And one last point, they know on this network, I've been doing a series called The Tenets of Manhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are principles that I believe in, and I try to be this dude every day. I try every day to live up to these principles, right? And hold on to them, because you never one of the very few things I agree with Terus with tonight was that there is no finish line. You should never have a finish line. You should always be like, one of the tenets is have a white belt mentality. In martial arts, you go to a dojo, you say, hey, I want to do this. You sign up, they give you a white belt. That's the first belt you stay in, right? But that's also the most underappreciated belt, but that's where you learn the most.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, stay a white belt for life in everything. Always learn,
Yes.
And things like that. But I don't know how many people watch it, but who's watching it live? Not very many. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, okay, here I am actually giving you the answers on how to be a better person, but no one cares. But if you go to other platforms where the Black woman ain't this, men ain't that, the man ain't making enough money, you know what I'm saying? Well, women, you too fat, or you ain't feminine enough, you too masculine, all that kind of stuff. Their eyes are glued to it. It's the thing is, they're attracted, for some reason, people are attracted to negativity. They're attracted to it and they can't get enough. That's where they want to be. So I don't care if it's 2 people watching my program tomorrow, because tomorrow my topic is very controversial. You know what I'm saying? And another thing is, to go back to what I was saying, Black men and filters, depends on how people take it. Like, I'll use myself as an example all the time, but when I do that, people think I'm being arrogant. I'm just like, how? I told you about how I failed at something and then came back and succeeded at it. How am I being arrogant? I'm giving you an answer, because I've been through it. No, you're being arrogant. I'm like, I don't understand it, but I guess I'll just keep doing my content. It's to the point where I don't know. Like, I've thought about branching out and doing my own channel, but I'm just like, you know what? I don't even know what to talk about anymore. People aren't taking it in.
This is
you
the
can't
thing.
reach people. I'm
It's
just like, so I'll just stay
complicated.
right here. I'm comfortable doing what I'm doing.
It's complicated, but like I don't have all the answers, obviously, right? But this channel mostly talks about relationships. So if this channel mostly talks about relationships, then you veer off into something different, no matter what it is, whether it's sewing. Let's forget this channel. If I was a channel that was talking about sewing and all of a sudden I talk about something else, it's going to dip a little bit. Right. So, that's where, unfortunately, the algorithm feeds people. They come here for a certain thing that they know they're going to get. Right. So that's just how that works. You know,
Yeah.
so if you want to talk about fitness, Chris Jones is on here. He's talking about fitness. I've encouraged you many times to share your journey, to share your fitness journey. He's doing wonderfully. There's a lot of people. Every time you come back, I'm gonna tell you, there's wonderful people that talks about fitness on here. Black people that are into bodybuilding and they're doing great. But their channel is strictly about eating and fitness, and maybe a little bit about a spiritual journey. Because in order to have that amount of dedication, like we got to talk about how to change our mindset, like the change that you guys want to see in marriages and in life. It has to start with us individually. Like the change has to happen up here, no matter what you decide to do.
And Candace, I don't think you were here for it. When you talked about the dip, I don't think you were here for my dip. Let me tell you what happened. So I said it live and I said it behind the scenes to my brothers. I said, you know, from this day forward, I'm not going back and forth with no female. I'm not arguing with no female on no panels. I'm just not doing it. I can't do it no more, right? Because I was out of line, and I don't want my daughter to look at this and say, Daddy, why did you call her a big fat bitch and she built like a Glade plug-in on the side of the road in Amsterdam? I can't.
Black man.
So I couldn't.
You know how much energy it takes to do that too?
It's a lot. It takes a lot. And I told him that. And I don't do it no more, bro. John, I don't do it no more, bro. None, not at all.
I've actually tried. You know, my personality is normally I don't argue with women, right?
Right.
And because it's unproductive, it's not a good place. It's not a good place for a man to do. Especially when it's not even your wife. It's like arguing another man's wife or some single woman. It's just not a good look. But when you do it, it's not. What do you gain from that?
Right. Nothing.
It's just draws energy out of you.
It's like going to a strip club. She gonna dance on you all night, throw that ass back on you with your jeans on. You gonna leave. You gave all your money, ain't got nothing.
Black man, Mr. John, you guys argue with men to men also and degrade one another and call each other out nasty names as well. And
but that's men though. We got it. That's how we handle
it. Okay, so if me and black men really got
community, if you're gonna come on here and talking about building community, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look
good.
But
okay, so the reason why I say this is because if me and black men got into it, okay, then I'm not saying we would, but just using it for example.
Yeah.
If we did, if I pushed him, he pushed me. I have no problem with defending myself against him because we're both men when it's done and when it's said and done.
Yes.
Now I'm not saying it's right or wrong. This is what it is.
I disagree. Here's the deal.
Go ahead.
What's damn likely? Me and you do it all the time. We bump heads like a motherfucker. And right after the show, we laughing and talking again, bro.
Now here's the deal. I know y'all, and then y'all know when I'm trolling and roasting somebody, I'm coming in good faith, and I'll talk and forgive and talk to anybody.
Right.
I don't take it isn't personal, but some people are actually really destroying people's brain cells and lives because you don't know what they really dealing. I want to say you don't know what they're dealing with, but by the stuff they be pitching on here, you know what they really dealing with in their brain.
What a lot of people does though is that a lot of people in these spaces, they hate women. I mean, they hate women.
But man,
you know what I'm saying? So they come up here already with a narrative. You know what I'm saying? And they're preaching a bunch of nonsense that it's just not going to work in the real world. And there are a lot of guys who hate women, and they hate the fact that now women, it's not a necessity that a woman relies on a man for survival anymore. They can't accept the fact that that's just the world we live in. They don't have to rely on a man. They can go out and get their education. They can go out there and get their good job. And now that women have a choice in the matter, they're upset about it.
Funny you said choice.
They have a choice. Say it again, man. They have a choice in what, Mandrell? Come on. I missed it.
They have a choice in the matter on what man they desire. A lot of guys are upset about that. And you know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna go through the everyday stuff of life, you know. So you're gonna get rejected. You're gonna hear the word no. You're gonna get rejected a lot. That's just a part of being a man. Okay. After so much of that going on, and no one, and it compound on top of that, no one's teaching boys how to be husbands. No one's teaching women how to be wives. You know what I'm saying? It's a recipe. Those aren't even the only two ingredients in this, as we know. So when you add everything up together, nuclear holocaust.
Okay,
that's what we have. And so people come in searching for answers, so they come to YouTube, and then they find a dust panel.
We need to start teaching our sons. Listen. Those dudes, let them be them. do teach our young boys. Like I told my son, look
But
in
they're
the
the
mirror.
ones injecting the venom.
But hold on. I told my son, look in the mirror, smile. Boy, you're a handsome boy. You're a handsome dude, boy. They coming. I said, but listen, if one break your heart, I just want you to look at this, son. Read it. What does it say? Daddy, 10-1. Yes. Listen, if number 10 walks out and breaks your heart, son, you get that goddamn Gorilla Glue. You glue that son bitch back together, and you go get number 9. And then you go get number 8. And if 8 don't work out, 7. Maybe number 4 may be your damn wife.
But see, you have.
But we're not going to. Don't be chasing out nobody that don't want you.
But
You got 10 options. Go get them.
You're a father. You're forgetting that you're a father. I grew up with a father in the house and a mother in the house, and they were together until death literally did them part.
Exactly. Yeah.
They were together over 30 years until death literally did them part. And the thing is, I find myself in a situation where I'm looking for that too. Like, I want to be with my wife, and I want to take care of her for the rest of my life. That's what I want to do with my life.
Exactly.
In whatever form that takes. And I want to do that until either A, I'm dead, or 2, she gives me my outright release. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen,
but other people don't have those examples. They don't have these being taught these lessons. They don't know.
Mandrell.
Hey,
so Mandrell, I grew up in a broken home.
He got to roll out in a minute. Let me get Chef in here.
Oh, go ahead, Chef.
Chef.
After Chef, we got a commercial. We got to play the commercial.
All right. Yo, I definitely want to thank y'all for having me up here. One of the final pieces that I say, and I want to call it the overarching conversation, is this. People are talking about the conversations that are going on in these spaces. Whether you like them or not, whether they rub you the wrong way or not, those are necessary conversations. Let's go to something as simple as, let's say, people that go to they have those groups. They sit down and they have the therapy groups. Those people that go to NA and AA, and the anger management groups. One of the things that those groups help with are 2 important phases of healing. One is the catharsis and one is the fulfillment. The catharsis is you getting all of that shit off your chest. You digging deep in your bag and telling them every single thing that pisses you off, that makes you want to rage at the world and want to rage in the situation. And normally those first few meetings are everybody getting their shit off their chest. It's the catharsis, right? The emptying of that emotion. It has to happen. Everybody ain't supposed to be in the room for that catharsis. Choose your room. Some diabetics got to take insulin. Some diabetics got to take candy now or later or something. You get what I'm saying? There's a different medicine for a different affliction. And at this point, I do believe that there's catharsis and fulfillment. And depending on which room you walk into and at that time and who are the parties that are in that room unloading, it ain't going to sound right. But it's not for you. It's not always for you. And I think that it's important that we respect each of those cognitive pieces because, no one system is greater than the sum of its parts. So we do have to understand that, like I said earlier, we may have to fix the squeaky wheel. We may have to fix the broken cog. We may have to temper weather or switch out the worn out fan belt. You get what I'm saying? But each of those pieces are critical and we have to respect the individual pain.
Chef, you have said something. Now, Mandra, I'm going to say this so you can respond to me and Chef together because it's going to be added to what he said. Okay. Chef, you know what? I would never tell you who it is because I like keep people shit private. But I have emails from people that have emailed me over a time period that said to me, bro, thank you for letting me come on your show. Thank you. Let me say this. Do y'all remember the time we had barbershop and a guy came on and his dad just passed away? Mm-hmm. And he was drunk and he came in raging on everybody. Fuck this motherfucker. And at the end of the conversation, we brought him all the way down. And that man said, y'all know what? Y'all saved my life.
Yeah, he did.
Y'all saved my life tonight.
Yeah, I know that man. His son was.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, and I have an email with a dude say, dude, oh man, I was raging out, man. My girl cheated on me. bro, I'll just start listening to y'all in the car. And then he'll say something like, Mandrell said something funny. I almost wrecked my car, bro. It lightened his load a little bit. Right. And so when we're having these conversations, man, a lot of people, we may rub a lot of people the wrong way, like Chef said. But some people, bro, it's really effective with some people to hear a joke every now and then, to hear somebody talking about some real shit, or being able to relate to that doom and gloom that they're experiencing. Right? We may talk about a wife cheating on her husband. A man may be driving down the road and be like, man, my wife just cheated on me 4 months ago. This how they got through it? Damn.
Yeah, but
I ain't got to go over here and choke this whole tonight.
The only issue I have with that is
goes two ways, but I'll leave it alone.
Yeah, it does go two ways, but the only issue I have with that was two issues. Is I have no problem because he's right, Chef. He's right that you do have to go through a phase where you get all of it out. However, what's the difference between poison and an antidote?
The
dosage. The thing is the dosage.
Yeah.
That's the only difference, because if you're bit by a snake, the doctor then has to poison you again
with a dead virus.
With a dead virus to kill the venom that's already there.
Yeah.
And what I see happening on a day-to-day, well, I don't even watch it day-to-day. I mean, but what I see happening now over the course of this year I've been in YouTube is that people, they're sick. They know they're sick. They need the antivenom, but they're not going to get it. They're going right back to the venom. And so it's just adding on to the dust that's already on to, like Dusto says, things are compounding onto them. They're not learning anything, and they're not putting in the work to fix anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's just
Scam, before you go, Scam, before you go, because like I said, we just mentioned lightening the load. Guys, we have a sponsor tonight, and I definitely want to play the sponsor's commercial. So I want to play it real quick. It's called I'm just gonna let y'all see the commercial. Here we go. Hi there, Black Men Unfiltered. Listen, today we have a special offer. We have the Wig Snatcher 1000 on sale for $19.99. Get yours now. Are you tired of your wife getting up every day looking like Rick James? Are you tired of your wife getting up every day looking like James Brown? You don't have to do it any longer. You don't have to suffer anymore. We have the Wig Snatcher 1000. We have them on sale now, $19.99. Get yours today.
Not a
She
problem.
have a penis on her head. That's
I feel I'm a wig him.
I don't know what I do.
Yeah.
But Black Man, Black Man and Chef, that's my only contention with what you're saying is that you take say you have a headache.
Much love to you, Chef.
Nice speaking with you.
Appreciate you.
If you have a headache, you take 2 aspirin, you'll be fine. You take 15 of them, you got another
Your last
problem.
headache.
Your last headache.
an
Right?
ass
So,
ache and a headache.
right. So it's the same thing with this. These are people who need therapy, because therapy goes a long way. They need classes on effective communication, emotional intelligence. They need a lot of work. And there's some programs out there that are free for this, but there's no one even telling them where to get the help that they need. There's no one even telling them that they need help to begin with. You know, so like you do positive shows all the time, Black Man. Scam Blackly does a show that's hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Left is good for the soul. You know what I'm saying? I do a show on different topics every week, and I don't talk about dating and relationships.
Right.
Wait until you see the one I do tomorrow. Okay, I'm pushing that because I think it's a very important conversation, and I want as many eyes on it as I can get. But and it's just, you know, too much of that negative talk about women, and no one's talking about a solution. Like I made a suggestion to one of my mentees on what to do with his show. So okay, here's what you do: you lay out a problem.
You have a mentee?
Now, yes, and you won't believe who it is. But anyway, you laid a problem, right?
I fired his ass, candidate, so it ain't me.
You didn't even fire me. You never hired me. So anyway,
We need
I told
more
him,
of that in the community. We
I
need
told
more
him,
people
I
mentoring each
told him,
other.
lay out a problem, right? A problem you see in the community or with dating relationship, whatever your topic is. Lay out the problem. Now you say, okay, to fix this problem, here's a solution, and here's another one. Here's another one. Okay, now panel, what solutions do you have to the problem I laid out? If you have any different than the ones I laid out, and if they have the same solution, or they want to talk about one of your solutions, talk about the solution, how you would implement it. See, now you're debating solutions instead of debating problems. I told them take that
So
route.
why don't I agree with you, but why don't we do that in Senate and Congress?
Because Senate and
Them
Congress
motherfuckers
don't
cuss each
care.
other out 365 days a year.
No, that's just what they want you to see. They have lunch together all the time.
That's my point. You just made my point.
They come out here. It's the same thing. Like if you and I had made a show on a Thursday night, right?
Because I cuss your ass out all the time.
No, yeah. Say we did a show on Friday night instead of barbershop talk. You and I just sit up here and we just talk about each other all night long. But then people would think we hate each other, right? People think we hate each other. But at the same time, when I came to Dallas, what did we do? I hung out with you. I played with your children.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
It's different because you guys have a relationship.
And so do they. The people
let's
in
not
Congress.
pretend as if we don't go back on. Let's not pretend as if we haven't seen what I'm referring to when I talk about the nastiness that's between two Black men, and it's not between. It's not in love. It's not in comedy. It's just
right. It's never personal with he and I. It's never personal.
That's not what I'm talking about.
We're passionate, but it's out of love. You know.
You are absolutely correct, because I just saw on the panel. I'm not going to say no names because I don't want to have to go into my bag of tricks and destroy somebody. However, because I don't do that no more. I'm not doing it no more. I'm done. I'm retired. However, I did see a panel where a guy was on and he was showing people pictures and videos of this man's ex-wife giving him head.
You see, that's not what we need to be doing on these.
And I'm like, dude, do you understand what that would do to another guy? Like, what? You're on a panel and you actually have footage of this man's wife naked.
You know, someone told me, hey, Black man, I know what you're talking about. Someone suggested, hey, why don't you take him under your wing, man, Drilling, and try to mentor him? I said, I can't help him.
There's nothing you can do with that guy.
That's what I'm talking about when I say that.
Hey, so Black man,
yeah, go ahead, John.
Mandrill, one of y'all two. Are we saying that men can't have confrontations?
Of course,
you shouldn't have confrontations.
Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can. But here's
okay, I just want to make sure.
John. But I think it's important that we teach boys how to handle confrontations and how
conflict resolution.
Yeah, conflict resolution. Yeah, but
exactly.
boys have to learn how. You have to learn to take it bitter, which is sweet. You know what I'm saying? Because life is going to be full of bitter and sweet moments. You know.
So let me ask y'all another question then. So I'm not saying grown men, but mostly like up into your teenage years. How do y'all feel about young boys and teenagers fighting?
So they fight.
That's it.
Well, okay, cool. Okay, I just want to make sure. I thought I heard something. I thought I heard something else earlier. Okay, so I thought I heard something else.
And what I like about the child dynamic is we beat the shit out of each other, and the next day we was hooping.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's what it was.
Baseball, whatever it was. You know what I'm saying?
That's in the past, but unfortunately nowadays people are shooting.
These aren't the same
we gotta
people.
be careful. You know, so that's. I've never met you, Mr. John Baptist. So just so that you know, I'm a registered nurse, right? And so sometimes I speak out of fear. I speak out of the things that I see, and I care about Black men. So, you know, I have a Black husband here. I have a Black father. I have a Black brother. And I, in general, care about the community. So Black men are in jail more than any other. When we talk about people that are in jail, and information man can speak to this more than I can. But when we talk about the demographics of people that are in jail, unfortunately, it's a lot of brothers. Right. So I'm not saying that men are not men. That's not my place to tell men how to be men. But what I'm saying is I'm scared. Be careful. People are shooting out here. You're ending up in either in jail or paralyzed for life or changed for life. And so that's, you know, it's not the same as when you were a kid and you just play basketball like Black men is talking about. You go at each other and the next day you hooping. It's not like that anymore.
I think the problem is the total opposite. I think the problem is that a lot of these guys don't know what consequences is. So that's where they have a problem. One of the things that keep men intact is they know that there can always, when you're dealing with another man, can be a consequence of us fighting. and somebody can get hurt. So it actually keeps men intact. It's just like having you're a woman, you dating this guy, and he know that you got brothers. What's gonna keep him from knocking your ass out is the fact that he know that you got males in your life. He know that you got men, because a bunch of women can't do nothing. They can't do nothing. The only thing they can do is all of them go over there and they all can get the same left and the right. But when he knows that there's a man, and you know that there's a chance that we will have confrontation, and there can be a chance that one of us can either go in the hospital, one could go to prison, or there can also be death. They don't understand anything. These guys right now, that's why you got so many guys on these panels and they trolling and they talking slick to other men and stuff like that. Knowing doggone well that if we were like in a room for real, they wouldn't be talking the way that they was unless they was with the business.
I think that's why I asked the question, because I think it's healthy that young men have that confrontation, because it teaches especially when you're younger, it helps you realize conflict resolution. Helps you realize that, okay, I can't beat up everybody, so I better learn how to talk. But you don't learn that till you lose a couple of them, or you win a couple of them. But you learn eventually that somebody has my number, so that makes you learn how to use conflict resolution. And I think that's the art of being lost right now. You have a lot of young men who don't know how to get that outlet out anywhere, and they just go berserk because they've been raised by single women, and they can't go off on anybody. But if a young man has a healthy outlet of sports, boxing, football, or just playing with your friends, it teaches you conflict resolution. We can't continue to raise boys like girls. We can't keep doing that.
Yeah, the thing is, that unfortunately, for a myriad of reasons, the men aren't present to teach them. You know, they don't have any really good uncles to learn from. The father's not in the house. There's a lot of boys out there like this, and the only thing they have is their mothers or their grandmothers or their mothers, grandmothers, and aunts. There's a lot of women in their house, and women are looking to protect. You know what I'm saying? They'll teach them. Listen. So what little boys learn is that, okay, plan for this, plan for that, plan for this, because women tend to be a lot more organized. You know, but so what they learn is plan for every eventual outcome. But what they don't learn is if you plan for every individual, every possible outcome, you'll start nothing. It's better for you to stumble into most of the things that you fear than it is to plan for every possible outcome and begin to do nothing. They don't learn to take risks, in other words. And if you're a man, life is full of risk. You're muted, black man.
And two things with my son, I teach him, I say, son, don't ever go start a fight, right? Always give people a warning. Give them some grace. Hey, chill out, right? But I said, if they put their hands on you, fuck them up immediately.
That's what I was told. That's what I was told.
Because you have to understand that's assault. If someone hits you and there's no one of authority around to stop it, you have to protect yourself. That's like saying, you know what? I'm going to let this person just chase me around with a knife, and I'm just going to wait till the police get here. You gotta be willing to protect your damn self, right? But then the second thing, I just want to make y'all laugh. The second thing is that I teach as I coach, because my son's on the team with these boys, right? And sometimes you hear the boys talking, you know, and my son got into a fight with one of his teammates, and one of the boys said to my son, "I don't give a fuck if you got a daddy, nigga." Right? That's what he told my son. And so I felt it in my son, zero tolerance. Mandrell met him, it's zero tolerance, right? He's a very angry kid. Mandrell told I'm moving to Dallas. I got to help that kid, right? Because I'm working with him because he don't take nothing.
Yeah,
so
you did ask me to.
Right, I'm working with him every day. It's just every day. It's a work. And so
I'll work with him too. I will.
Man, my son started fighting this kid, and I sat both of them down. I said, "Hey, listen, man. Y'all are teammates, y'all brothers, y'all dap it up, right?" I say, listen, he got a daddy, but you also got a mentor. I'm here for you just like I'm here for my son, right? But the best, I'm gonna tell y'all this, and I don't mean this in a bad way. The best football players are those kids that come from one-parent homes where they're struggling, they're depressed, they angry, they upset. Those kids will run through a wall for you. They will, listen, I have dudes on the football team that we had other teams forfeiting because our boys take their aggression out horribly. They're hitting boys and knocking them out, pulling it. I mean, hitting them and knocking their helmets off. I mean, crushing these guys, and they get up. And someone be crying for what they went through a week ago, bro, and them be the most aggressive kids. And you say, "Oh man, something going on up top." But I'm glad that they're
It
taking
is,
it on the
but I'm
field.
glad I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that
I am
because
too. I am too.
that's
Right.
actually that's one of the things I had to go through. I grew up in a
Right.
single parent home, and I used sports for
Right.
that one reason, to get my aggression out
Mhm.
on people, because it's
Yeah.
like there's not a pent up anger that you deal with when
Yeah.
you know when you don't have a dad at home. So that's why I mentioned sports as an avenue of doing that for real, because it's a healthy way of getting that anger out.
All right. Well, we're gonna be up to final thoughts, man. You could go ahead, Dusto, and who you want to go first, and I'll pull them up for you, my brother.
Yeah, put me on the bottom, I guess.
Okay, I got
And
you.
Ken on the bottom.
You and Ken. Okay, I got you. We'll
We'll start
Ken it
with John
down.
the Baptist.
Start with John. All right, John. John, thank you for being here, man. You always be in the chat supporting me, man. So I just want to. I'm glad you're on the panel tonight, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, man. I try to. There's so many people out here, man, that's got good programs, and it's like you're trying to learn everybody what night they're going to be on. But I do like your podcast, man. I like stuff you put out. Got good content. My final thought is, I know I kind of came in late on the program, right at the tail end of it. I'm glad I came. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed the conversation. As far as promoting marriage, or what's the word? Come on, help me out. What's the
Doom
marriage?
and gloom. Doom and gloom.
Doom and gloom.
Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, I do promote marriage, but I know this YouTube space, they like to promote doom and gloom, the downsides of marriage, and I think you have to talk about all of it. But I think you should talk about it with some kind of solution in mind. Yeah, recognize the things that can be bad, but how can we get to a place where it's good, and so that we can promote marriage in a healthy aspect. And to have a healthy marriage, you need two healthy people, and I am with that.
All right, man. Hey, look, John, if you don't mind, man, email me blackmanunfiltered@gmail.com, because I need more brothers like you, man. You're an example. You're married, 27 years in, right? 27?
Yes.
Yeah, 27 years in, man. So you are a good reflection, man, to add to a platform full of men that when we could do some work together, man. So email me at blackmanunfiltered@gmail.com, brother, and I'll reach out to you and we do some work.
Will do.
All right, man. Appreciate you so much for being here, man. Give it up for John the Baptist. All right. So then we got my boy JT, What We Know Podcast, is in the building tonight, man. Hey, all day I dream about success is on his chest. What's going on, man?
That's right. Hey, man. Great conversation. The doom and gloom, it is what it is, man. If you are about being together with your counterpart, this is the time to do it, man. It's about to be over with for a lot of people here. And in order for families to even be fortified, bro, we have to really look at where it starts, and that's going to be women and men. So how do we get it to a point where it's not what it is right now? Young lady that you had on the show earlier, she said it. She hit it dead on the nail. We have to talk to the young ones. We have to get them, because these old folks ain't gonna be able to do it. They too hard-headed, they too stuck in their ways. And we gotta be a little more creative. It'll never go back the way it used to be. It'll never go back there. So we are gonna have to figure out how to at least get it started, because I don't think that we would see it in our time here where it can potentially go. So when we do talk about the doom and gloom and all these different things, man, I can tell you I was married for the first time I was married for almost 10 years. I'm in the process right now of getting married all over again.
Come on, boy.
And we're in the process of making it happen. And it ain't just by buying a ring and saying that we married and stuff like that. No, we are actually very vigilant in what we're doing. We put it together. We learn, because we both were married before, so we learn from our mistakes, and we're trying to implement something different. You know what I'm saying? So we got a lot of different purposes with this marriage, what we can get out of this marriage together, and we building on that, man. And that's what I like to look at. I'm just not there, like what Ken and Ann said. I'm not in that space where there's a whole bunch of people that's doing terrible in their relationships, but I do see it. My observation is something different. And in these streets, YouTube, whether it's that or IG or whatever, man, you can see what's being promoted. And right now, division is being promoted. And it's being promoted in movies, it's being promoted in the arts, period. And especially it's being promoted by us, women and men. And if we're sitting back and we're looking at this stuff as humorous entertainment, it's going to keep being perpetuated. What we have to start doing is getting that stuff out of our diet, ignoring it. Leave it to the dumb people. Let them consume that shit, because when you consume that type of stuff, it's going to be in your system. It's going to be in your system. You're going to be just as sick as anybody else that's out here because you're consuming that dumbass stuff. It's stupid. And that's the end, man. That's that. Look, follow me at What We Know podcast. I also have another channel that I have where it's a channel. It's called Let Me Expound. And what that channel is that it talks about multi-billion-dollar companies. It talks about how famous people got to where they're at and stuff like that. Again, is what we Let Me Expound. I also have another channel that I'm getting ready to do too. It's more of a news channel that I'm gonna be doing. And this is why you see the fire. And it's called, I'll let y'all see it. It's called Bonfire. And all it's gonna be is just videos of me putting the news out, reaction videos and stuff like that for about 8 minutes, 12 minutes and stuff like that. It's not going to be any live or anything like that. All my lives and everything that I'll be doing is going to continue to be on What We Know, which is my main channel. Me and Rob, we're about to get back into it. I've been out the net for a minute, man, trying to get it all back together, because it's time to get this stuff together, man. I got 2 channels monetized, trying to get this third one monetized, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, if you guys ain't been seeing me in a while, that's the reason why, man. I've been trying to get this stuff revamped, and then I have to cleanse my soul, man, because it's just a lot of shit that got me to a point where I didn't know what to talk about anymore. I was stumped. So now I'm back on it. I done read me a couple of books. I got me a couple of more books to read, and it's about to be on the popping again, baby.
Hey, now, was that your pussy just was on your leg?
That was my pussy. One of them. I got 2 pussies over here.
Oh. Hey, listen, let me say something, man.
That's the boy pussy. That's the bussy.
Hey, man, I want to say, man, congratulations to you and Nidra, man. You let me know when I keep telling you this over and over again. You think I'm bullshitting. You let me know when that wedding is, I'm gonna be at that motherfucker. Man, me and Mandrell definitely coming. All right, if me and Mandrell come and we get Ronan in there. And we get, listen, if we get just us 3, that's just enough. That's enough hell right there.
Yeah, we wasn't even having nothing really big or nothing like that. But I had to say it because she ain't really big on the wedding and stuff, but I think she deserves it, man. For real. She deserves everything that she's getting right now. She showed me something different, because I sure wasn't trying to get married again. I just got to the point where
you better start talking about that positive, how you fell in love again. I mean, this is a lot. Come on now.
It was very intentional. Very intentional.
I love it, bro.
We love it. Congratulations. I wish the best for you.
Appreciate it.
I love it, man. We got a lot of weddings that's gonna be coming up here. I'm gonna be at Jedi's wedding too, shit, depending on where you have it up here. Last time I talked to me, talking about the Bermuda Triangle. I ain't going out there, but I'm gonna be at somebody. I'm going to these weddings, man, because I want to support you guys, man. You guys are being the example that you need to be in the community and for the men that are around you. So we all gonna be up here toasting up, bro. And I appreciate you.
We need to sharing each other's joy, man. We definitely need to do that, and that's
absolutely. Hey, you know what though? I was thinking about having a show where we all just be on here with our wives. Now that's gonna be some shit. That'll be some shit. But we gotta figure that out. We're gonna figure that out. But that'll be, boy, we gonna clown. All right. So anyway, thank you so much, JT, man. I ain't want to hold you long, man. I appreciate you, brother. Everything you do, man. Much love to you. Much love to your family and your kids, bro. And peace out, man.
All right, man. Y'all have a nice one, man. I'm out. All right.
Well, my final thought is if you guys ever have a hope to have a healthy relationship, you got to start with yourself. You got to court not just your purpose, but your presence. Establishing boundaries for yourself, standards. And then when you're able to teach that blueprint to somebody and they respect that, you can build from there. So you have to have a discerning ear when it comes to hearing like a lot of this doom and gloom and fear porn. You have to move accordingly. Like you take the mistakes that are put out there and try to find solutions, not just with yourself, but those who you look to bring forward. And that's my final thought.
All right, man. Appreciate you too, man. Ronan, hey, man, what a sword at tonight.
I was over there chilling. I got cleaned it.
Oh, okay, I saw it. All right, brother, man. I appreciate you so much for being here, man.
All right, y'all take it easy.
All right, my brother. Drill. Final thoughts. Yeah, nigga, wake up. You sleep?
No. Is it doom and gloom? The vast majority of these panels, these YouTube channels out here, they are. I mean, you just call a ball, and a strike, and it's serving no one any good. You know, why people are so attracted to it is because they can relate to it. That's why, and why they seem to repel information that will help them and help them grow into be a better person is because that takes effort. And it's human nature to take the path of least resistance. It just is what it is, but no one was taught or put into a position to where they had to fight through that and persevere and excel regardless of the odds. So if you've never had that experience and you're now an adult, you've got a problem on your hands that you can't solve on your own. That's going to take therapy. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of effort, unsupervised effort. So it's going to take discipline. Something that if you're in that situation, you were never taught anyway. So are these panels doom and gloom? Yes. Even the ones that are not doom and gloom, like Security Boss. She promotes marriage left, right, and center. But you get people who come out there, women who come out there and take her to the cleaners in the comments.
Man, come on.
I mean, and the only thing Security Boss promotes, marriage. If you're a woman who doesn't want to be married, then why are you watching her channel then? That's not for you. They come there to troll her, which is incredibly disrespectful in my opinion. But, you know, like Dusto says, people are going to be people. They're going to do what they want to do. The only thing we can do is hope for the best and try to save as many people as we can and teach as many people as we can. Hopefully, people will start to see, we make a big enough impact to where we see things turn around and attract more people who want to consume positive content. Hey, Reckless Logic, how you doing? So that's my thing. That's my 2 cents. It's just one man's opinion.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will say this about Mandrell. Mandrell is a part of the Black Men Unfiltered Network, and on tomorrow, he has a very, very, very important show tomorrow, Bridging the Gap. And I'm going to say what it is. Y'all about to be ready for this. Bridging the Gap, he did it with the millennials. The first time it was millennials, and who else was it, Mandrell, in the first show you did?
Gen X
and
really
millennials, right?
all of the rest of the younger generation.
And trying to come up with men to come together and have a common goal to move forward. And then the second one was a part 2 to that, right? Tomorrow, Mandrell is tackling something. This is going to be one to watch. I'm here for it. Tomorrow, he's bridging the gap between men who are homosexual and men who are heterosexual. And he's going to have a panel of split down the middle. And boy, I'm supporting Mandrell in this journey, and for him to try to bridge the gap in that, and looking forward to future shows. And I'm just praying. We're gonna pray real hard that this show goes very well tomorrow, because I know it will. But y'all tune into Unapologetic with Mandrell and Shushu tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and support Mandrell tomorrow. Send him a cash app to get him some coffee or something, because he's gonna need it tomorrow. All right. So Mandrell, much love to you, man. Thank you for everything that you do, brother. You know I'm here for you, man, whenever you need me, bro.
Okay.
Peace. Retired ass. Charles Barkley looking at me. All right, bye, man.
Like Charles Barkley.
All right, listen, I'm gonna give my final thoughts real quick, guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the idea and the vision of my dear brother, Come on, give it up for Scam Likely in the building, man. Always open to his ideas, man. And thank you so much, Canada, for co-hosting with him. We had a great conversation tonight. Nobody cussing each other out, nobody calling each other out their names. Very disagreements were even subtle. There was no none of that. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to have direct conversations, but we ain't trying to cuss each other out. No, we're not trying to do that. So I thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. And hit the like button, subscribe button. If you want to donate to the channel, please do that. You see it scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Also, if you want to send a super chat, you can also do that before the show is over. And I'll hand the show back over to the host and co-host Canada. And y'all have a good night. Peace.
Hey, so what'd you think about the show, Dusto? I think you're muted, hun. Can't hear you, no.
Yeah, I was muted. My bad.
Okay, there you go.
No, I think it was cool. I think y'all held it down. Brought some light to a lot of the darkness that's floating around. And a lot of people did admit that yes, it's gloom and doom pitching. Some of it is necessary, we get it. Some of it comes from pain, it comes from a form of reality. But the reason I brought it was because I grew up in a Black community. I'm not blackity black, but I grew up in a Black community. We don't get to choose where we live. But somebody chose good for me. My parents decided to stay together, raise 3 children. And where it was is 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 square foot homes, 2-car garages, adjustable basketball goals, green grass, 2 cars in the driveway. That's just what I know. So people who think all the fiction, this can't work. Divorce take half. They got
Your voice kills me when you do.
Man, alimony. I'm like, dude, what are we talking about? Well, the white man don't got that problem. And look, go outside and go look for something positive. Because it's getting so bad to where it's like all this negative stuff, and half of it ain't even true. A lot of it ain't even the damn truth. Well, you know this happened. Would you know? No, that ain't true. If you look this up, it's actually different. And it's so bad that I got to go 1-on-6 with people over something that ain't even true. And it's common sense. But this very thing is direct. If I have a Dusto Krusty floating around in the chat, your negative attitude is the reason that all the negativity exists in your household and your mind. Your attitude is garbage and it needs to get fixed. That is a problem and it attracts more negativity. Do whatever you got to do. Your confidence. Before we get to talking about the bag and the 6-figure 6-pack and all this stuff, your attitude. Get something positive in there and do it tonight, or your brain is going to kill itself and everything around you. The gloom and doom, stop. That's all I got.
So for me, there's something as a nurse, and you might have heard this before, and it's called meeting people where they're at. Right. So if I'm a person that is like the clinician, or I have if I'm claiming that I have emotional intelligence or wisdom, whatever vernacular you want to use, when people are down, instead of, there's more than one ways to get something accomplished. And I think there's a place for, direct speaking. I'm candid, and I think there's a place for doom and gloom sometimes. But what I'm saying is, what I came here to talk about in general was, in general, there's so much of it that I'm hoping to be one of the voices. I know I'm not special. There is nothing special about me. There has to be more people like me. I'm so happy that Bethany came up to talk, and speak.
Thank you, Bethany.
Yeah, thank you so much. What I basically want to get at, there's a lot of thoughts that I have. But for the people in the chat, know that some of these channels, I'm not saying this one in general. I'm saying in general, not this one, but in general, some of these conversations are just for entertainment. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care what happens to you. They will make money off of you. They don't mind posting you up, cursing each other out, and all kinds of mess like that. So I'm not saying all channels are like that, but be cognizant of where you spend your time in some of these spaces, because some of these people in our community are just here to get the cash apps, to get the money, and some of us do care. So I would say, for those of us that want to support Black media, not to spend your money on some of those channels where we are just bringing each other down. Spend money on the channels, that are really trying to have a variety of conversation. Support Black media that is really out here trying to show you, the good, the bad, the ugly, comedy, and all of it. Right? Because we are a diverse group of people. We're not just the same damn thing over and over and over again. I love the fact that Mandel talked about getting a mentor. I love the fact that John the Baptist talked about boxing and exercising and how he came from a single mother. I wish more men that came from a single mother and was able to figure it out. And he said he's married for 20 something years. Talk about how you were able to figure it out. Because all we hear about is the horrible things about single mothers, and I'm not even going to fight you there. But tell me, how were you able? Tell the Black men, forget me. Tell other Black men on here, what did you do? How did you figure it out? How are you a man that's married for 20 something years? What to do? People might want to. That's also, there's value in that also. Right. I want to, there's a couple of other things. I was going to share a book. I put it in the back chat. The book, I'll if you guys can post it into the chat, that's great. If not, I'll try to come back another time to share the book. Basically, the book is about for you Black men, and there's one copy for each person, for women, for men, for grandmothers, grandfathers. It's basically, I don't call it a journal, but it's sort of like a journal. It asks you a bunch of questions, and so, like, for instance, I'm gonna take Black Men Unfiltered for a minute, right? He's a dad. Let's pretend, he had a grandkid or whatever, right? You write down it asks you a bunch of questions. What's your favorite color? What was it like for you growing up? What did you want to be when you grew up? Like, it's all a bunch of questions, really wanting to know, Dad, tell me everything about you. I think the book is called Dad, Tell Me Everything About You. Right? This way, you can write down all of your thoughts, all the questions, all the things you don't even think about. What's your favorite color? What did you want to be when you grew up? When did you get married? What's something that you wish like, all kinds of things, so that Black men can share this book with their kids, with their grandkids. Because when you're dead and gone, right? These are the things that we search for, wondering, like, damn, I never knew my dad. Like, what was you want to know? So there's a book that's available. It's for men, it's for fathers, it's for mothers. There's one copy available for moms. There's a copy available for grandfathers, grandmothers. That's one of the things I want us to, because you guys have incredible value. Right? There's so much value that I want you guys to share. And so I hope that, you can do that. One last thing I want to talk about, like, guys, get off the panels sometimes, get outside. I want to share hobbies, right? I have 2 books here, right? These are 2 books that I made. I actually, this is my photography. And listen, everything ain't for the Instagram. You're out here, you're taking photographs with your phone or whatever. I know it's fun for the grandma or whatever, but some of that stuff is for you, your family. So what I did was, these are old. This is not nothing new. This is 2008, Martha's Vineyard, 2008, me and my husband. This is a coffee table. You can just make stuff like this. These are just pictures of us, Go out there and take pictures. Go out, enjoy life. Get a hobby, and everything doesn't have to be for Instagram. Like, when you have vacations, like, this is us years ago. Just make a hobby, like, do something for yourself. Everything doesn't have to be for the gram. Like, these things are for us, for me, for my family. I don't have any kids, but my husband has nieces and nephews. These books, these pictures, they'll exist after I'm gone. Right, the book that I'm talking about, it'll exist after you're gone. So I hope that you guys, take away as much as you possibly can. I'm going to be speaking. I work a lot, and I'm hella inconsistent. But on my channel, I will be continuing to talk about hobbies, getting outside, and getting some of that angst, some of that anger. Like, therapy can be gardening, it could be boxing. Manjel talks about jujitsu. There's so many things that we can do outside here. There's so many ways to inspire one another. There's so many things that we have within us. One of the things that I love about Black Men Unfiltered, and I've told him this multiple times, is his comedy. Like, not everyone can do that. So I want you guys to not just share the doom and gloom, but also to share the positive, loving, amazing things. How'd you get through? How'd you get through? People need to know that. That's valuable information, not just sharing the ratchet, screwed up, effed up, stuff that we already know that exists. We got so many social media platforms that talk about that. Let's also share how we are able to love up on one another. Right. So that's where I come from. That's where I want to talk about. That's the contribution that I wanted to give. But when I get that book, it was supposed to be delivered today. I have to go search around it's so dark outside, I can't find it. But I'll come back another time and share. I dropped the the Amazon link. But if you guys have grandkids, and I'm saying this mainly because I'm 47 years old. I spent the turn of the new year at the hospital, not because I was working, but because my friend had not an aneurysm, she had an internal cranial hemorrhage. She's also 47 years old. Didn't know it was going to happen. Like, we're getting older. You don't know what's going to happen. So I think it's to take every opportunity to, share yourself in whatever positive way that you can. I understand the doom and gloom is necessary sometimes, but it's been so much of it that I want us to inspire one another. That's all. That's it. That's it.
Cool. Doom and gloom is not the way, ladies and gentlemen. But it's cool. I'd love to have a conversation myself, but sometimes I go 1-on-6 and they don't listen. So I decided to reach out for help. Like Chef Shapino, better listeners, better talkers. Some of them are almost better looking than, not almost, but not really better looking than me. But the message had to get delivered. The conversation had to be had. And I think y'all get it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank y'all all for coming.
Take care, guys.
Support. And I'm not going to stop trolling. It's no.
I'm gonna continue being positive out here in these streets.
I'll be positive, but I'm still going to troll.
Yeah, we got so much talent.
Thank you. But